This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BW, babe. This is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this. Fucked up.
Run it back.
I fucked up. You know what? No, we're not editing it. We're not editing it. Welcome to this special midweek edition of One Nation Radio, the 2021 One Nation Radio Awards edition of the show. I'm James Boyd. Here with me, I have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. If you guys are anxious to hear us talk about Cody, that is coming Monday, so do not miss it. Get in the Twitch chat that Monday, and we're going to do the full court press on this thing that, quite frankly, we've been right about for the last 7 months.
Oh man, I don't recall us ever doing like advertising and building up segments for like for next week's show. I don't recall ever doing that before. But wow,
advertising like Tony Khan.
Wow. What?
Be there.
Give you something to look forward to next week.
Yes, Hustle Gang will be there.
Oh man, it's gonna be a lot. That's before we turned on the recording in the stream, I wondered whether that was going to be a 20-minute thing, and Rich was like, oh yeah, and I was like, you're going to take off on this. He was like, oh yeah, like the Kool-Aid man. He went from oh yeah to oh yeah. So it's going to be something to look into, and I don't think right now is the appropriate time to just jump into it because there's still stuff out on it, and we don't know, when and where he's going to show up. We all think he's going to be in WWE, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes because none signed yet. And this has a lot of this sounds a lot like Bret Hart in '96. Like he doesn't really want to go, but
yeah.
He's been slighted. He wants more money. Tony Khan don't really want to give it to him. So
looking, real life, a lot of surrounding factors.
So a lot. So if he tucked his tail and came at AEW, that'd be fucking hilarious. But anyway, that would be hilarious.
They didn't insult you, they didn't slap you in the face, quote unquote, and then you just humbled yourself because you knew,
So let's get into it. The 2021 One Nation Radio Awards.
What a year!
What a year by 2 promotions. What the bullshit? Like, what a year by 2 promotions.
James, so last year on the show, I said that Stardom was above New Japan.
Yeah. That's what you said. You voted them number 2 in the Observer Awards for 2020. And then this year, like that came well into fruition. These were the 2 best promotions in the world by major promotions in the world or mid-size or above promotions in the world by a comfortable margin. Like these are the only 2 promotions where if you're putting your money to for pay-per-view, you were going to get a quality show every single time. Were all of them the best shows in the world? No, but they all had stuff on them that were worth your time, and then they had the best collection of shows. Like if you say, between Stardom's Budokan Hall show, between their Osaka Joe Hall show, between their Sumo Hall show, between the first nights 1 and 2 and the final of the Grand Prix And then you throw in AEW with All Out in Full Gear. They had incredible shows, and also throwing Grand Slam week of AEW. They just killer big shows. Tons of great matches and memories and moments, and they more or less turned this to a 2-promotion show this year at points. Where it was like, we're covering those 2 promotions heavy, and then everything else is ancillary. And that's not to say that there wasn't great wrestling around the world, because there's tons of it. Will Ospreay, Shingo Takagi, but at the same time, it was few and far between, and with New Japan being so watered down with their touring schedule and making shows that would in previous years be streamlined into one card and to spread them out into double duty and other things, and it just wasn't the same. And it also hurt with the lack of the Gaijin fallouts with their Gaijins. It was a struggle, and plus Black and Gold NXT gets packed up. This in WWE's main roster is the shits. So that's what this show came into. Like we basically had to embrace All Elite Wrestling and World Wondering Stardom, and they took us in. They gave us a nice home for a year. I appreciate that. So like I'm pretty sure that will be reflected in the voting.
Yeah. So we might as well get right to the big one. This one right here is the Shawn Michaels In-Ring Performer of the Year. So this is best in-ring performer, star ratings, match to match, overall performance, however you want to evaluate it, tags, singles, everything on the list here. So we're going to go through the top 3 finishers and then talk about anyone else, and I'll go through the nominations as well. So the people that were nominated were Bryan Danielson, Rey Fenix, Utami Hayashishita, Kenny Omega, Will Ospreay, Shuri, Shingo Takagi, and the Young Bucks. So on that list, that's a lot of talent right there. So finishing in 3rd place with 60 points, the Dragon, Shingo Takagi.
Wow.
Finishing in 2nd place with 109 points, only 2 points behind the 1st place winner. This was a razor thin margin that I had to double check and count to make sure, everything was right. I wasn't transposing anything. So finishing 2nd is Kenny Omega, last year's winner. And number 1 with 111 points, Bryan Danielson.
Wow. That was such a crazy closing stretch, man. That was such a crazy closing stretch for him. Like, even the matches that I didn't love as much as other people, like, I think I gave the Kingston match 4.5. A lot of people had 4 3/4, right? Like, people liked the Nick Jackson match more than I did. But, like, to have the Dustin match, to have that whole run through, like, Silver and Uno and, like, all the rest of Dark Order to get to Danielson, to get to, the Omega match, plus what he did at WrestleMania, his last match. I don't want to say retirement, his last match with Roman. He had a great year, and I thought that I thought he was going to catch potentially he's going to catch Omega for Flair Thez. But we'll see. But the Suzuki match also, I forgot about that. Like, that's one of my 10 favorite matches of the year of last year. So he had a great year, and I just didn't think he was going to catch Omega. I just didn't, but he did. That's crazy.
Yeah. So my 2 favorite guys, like pretty much of all time here, 1 and 2. That's pretty awesome. Both of those guys had like great years. Bryan, of course, he did that with taking the summer off, took a little vacation, relaxed, and all that. I wasn't as into his WWE stuff. I voted for Kenny number 1. I voted for Shuri number 2, and I voted for Danielson number 3 on my ballot. So
on my ballot I had, let's see. On my ballot, I had Shingo number 1, Shuri number 2, and Kenny number 3. But, like, if I had a 4th, it would have been Danielson. But, like you mentioned, he took that time off. And a lot of people, they just felt like that, perfect time, the closing stretch. He held a lot of people down in the last third of the year. So, I'm not necessarily like I'm surprised, but when you think about it, if it's a race, he had the best closing stretch of anyone in the world. He really did.
Yeah, I really value Kenny's year from a versatility standpoint. Big matches, tag matches, trios matches, and every big match essentially. Like in America, you could probably like argue Kenny Omega was there, from the Exploding Barbed Wire Death match, the Arthur Ashe Danielson was there as well. The title change, which like the two biggest buy rates, like he was in the main event for those, and awesome matches, and it was it was another stellar year for him. While broke up and injured, and Shingo was incredible in his own world. I think it's everyone's so down in New Japan, they're not gonna get the votes.
Yeah,
but
like so many people that basically like parachuted out of there as far as watching week to week. So yeah, I could see why it didn't happen for him. But I do think he did have the best year. It's just it's a tree falling in the woods and no one around.
Yeah. As far as Stardomers, Utami finished 1 point in front of Shuri. And Will Ospreay, people really hate this guy. He only finished with 2 second place votes. Besides that, that man's rocking a 0-2-0 on the point scale. Or excuse me, he got 1 second place vote. Sorry about that.
Yikes. Like he arguably had the best match of the year.
The Bucks finished number 4. They're always going to be here. So, that'll wrap it up. Congratulations to Bryan Danielson. Up next, the WWE Women's Wrestler of the Year. So we have 6 nominees here, and it was a struggle to get to 6. I remember when we were putting this thing together. So, so our nominees: Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Raquel Gonzalez, Becky Lynch, and Rhea Ripley. So, in third place, Becky Lynch. In second place, the boss, Sasha Banks. And number 1, with 147 points, 108 first place points. So, like, just an overwhelming, point, kind of differential there. She ended up winning by 36 points, was Bianca Belair. So, looks like kayfabe accomplishments got a lot of weight right there. I think they Sasha only being active, Sasha is eerily similar to Kyrie Irving, showing up at only certain times, and
also wary of
science.
But anyway, like all it takes is all you need is one mic. All you need is one match. All you need is one match. So in the words of Bill Simmons talking about particular MVP years, and them having different weight depending on the field and depending on the field of competition and depending on the level of achievement, for year to year, like comparatively speaking to previous editions of the WWE Woman of the Year, this is one of the lighter weight trophies we've ever had. Since we've been doling out annual awards. Like Sasha and Io had to dogfight it out last year. They had way better years than Bianca did this year.
Yeah, it was. I guess I don't know if this was just the best of the worst essentially, but I think Becky Lynch was not good at really all. And Sasha,
she's forcing herself to be a heel when everyone wants to cheer her.
Sasha, like I said, too much in and out of the company. Did make an impact when she was there all the time. Charlotte, this wasn't a particularly great Charlotte year, I thought.
And I voted her third over Becky.
Man, Rhea Ripley struggled to really translate, I think, on the main roster. And Raquel was just there. She was just
Raquel had a strong start to the year, the first third of the year, and then because of things outside of her control, 2.0 dropping, it fell off a cliff. Like, if you had told me when Rhea and Raquel on New Year's Evil had like a damn near 4.5 star last woman standing match to send Rhea out the territory, that like by the end we would have to just basically shoehorn her in to be the sixth person to make a 6, I would have been like, that's crazy. Look how well she's doing. And then, so yeah,
Becky was like Becky was like really a hot thing like 4 years ago at this point, or 3 years ago really, and now it's like it feels like it's even beyond the forcing yourself to be a heel thing. It's just like the magic is gone. Like, I think, and it's
because she's not doing what made her hot.
Yeah, like
on purpose because like she's having fun, which is like great. So did Stone Cold Steve Austin in 2002.
Yeah, I would probably say, and as far as Bianca goes, we've talked about her year, and she won the Royal Rumble, won at WrestleMania, embarrassed at SummerSlam, won at Survivor Series while not really beating anyone important. In between then, she was booked like a yo-yo up and down, not going through long stretches of not winning. Yeah. But I guess it was enough here.
I mean, given the level of competition, she absolutely deserves to win. I voted her first, so like, yeah.
Same. Yeah. So congratulations to Bianca.
And your 5-pound trophy.
Yep. WWE Wrestler of the Year time. So this will be fun.
This is a 10-pound trophy.
We might have to move these awards back,
man. Like,
put these like,
this is not like 2017 AJ Styles winning this shit, or 2018 Johnny Gargano winning this shit, or Becky Lynch or whoever won at that time. This is not. We have backslid. We have really backslid.
So our nominees: Big E, Bianca Belair, Daniel Bryan, Tommaso Ciampa, Edge, Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins.
We didn't write freaking on there, did we?
I didn't know.
Okay, I was about to say. I wouldn't have allowed that. Like, I thought I've looked at this before.
All right, so let's take a look at our finishers. So, in third place, with 55 points, Bianca Belair.
Ooh, I think someone's not by the place that I was told some all-time great just so we could go, just like an hour ago.
Yeah.
I think someone just didn't place.
Yep, number 2, Daniel Bryan with 81
someone definitely
points.
did not displace. Someone definitely does not displace.
And number 1, the big dog with 107 points, 75 first place points, Roman Reigns. That person that you're referring to finished 7th of 8.
7th of 8 in this particular class.
On this land. In
the landscape where there's a 2.0 instead of a black and gold, huh?
Correct.
Okay.
Congratulations to Roman Reigns.
One of the all-time greatest wrestlers of all time finished 7th in a I don't know, in a pillow fight. The fuck. Anyway, yeah. So.
Don't know, like people cannot tell me Seth Rollins is all time great. Like, leave it alone. Like, don't do this. Like, no. He fell off the ballot the first year in observer voting, like, of the Hall of Fame. Like, stop.
And look, and for people that think that are listening to this and think that like I'm some anti-Seth person, one, I have owned a Seth Rollins shirt before. And 2, for Seth finished 7th on this, I voted him 3rd. So am I behind the consensus or with the consensus? I'm voting him 3rd when he finished 7th. In reality, I'm one of the people still fighting for him. Where the fuck did everybody else go?
I think I think James had to like sell me on putting Seth Rollins on this list here, but yeah, as far as Roman Reigns, very dominant year, all time protection in every sense of the word, beating everybody like a drum. It would have been impossible for him to not win this.
Can we get a ranking breakdown of how this all went, please?
Okay, you want it from
let's 8 through 1.
Okay, It's going to take me a second. So, all right. Number 8 is Edge. Number 7, yes, Seth Rollins and Edge supposedly having this all-time great feud, finished number 7 and 8 in this thing. Man.
Well, to be fair,
right themselves.
how many people listen to this show would also check out the Saudi Arabia shows to find out? I don't think there'd be many.
Yikes. Number 7, Seth Rollins. Number 6, Tommaso Ciampa. Number 5, Big E. Number 4, Bobby Lashley. Number 3, Bianca.
Gotcha.
Number 2, Brian, who only was there
4 months.
Yeah. And then Roman Reigns on top, the big dog on top.
Wow. All right. All right. Yeah, so I guess time to move on.
Yep. Up next, the New Japan Wrestler of the Year. We haven't covered New Japan as often this show, and I considered the award, but I left it. So our nominees: Jeff Cobb, Kota Ibushi, Tomohiro Ishii, Kazuchika Okada, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Shingo Takagi. So finishing in third, the Commonwealth Kingpin, Will Ospreay. Second place, the Rainmaker, Kazuchika Okada. And number 1, walking to number 1, Shingo Takagi with 114 first place points, 134 overall.
Okay,
Okada had 75.
So given that the voting was open during Wrestle Kingdom, in very much same fashion that Ibushi backdoored his way to winning New Japan Wrestler of the Year for 2020 on our awards because of what he did on January 4th and 5th, it seems like, I gotta say, Okada finishing second in this and over Ibushi not placing sounds fishy to me, even if he did win the G1. Because Ibushi had a better year than Okada did.
I think Ibushi suffered from lots of bad news surrounding him. His title reign was tragic. As far as all the stuff with the belt, it just wasn't. And then he got hurt at the end, and then
he had aspirational pneumonia.
Yeah, and then Okada, in 2021, he still had a certain amount of great big matches and everything like that. But Shingo is if you want somebody like the city is burning in flames around you, but he's standing, nothing was taking him down. So hopefully he gets another shot one day when fans are back and everything like that. So
yeah,
but Shingo the Dragon is your New Japan Wrestler of the Year. Alrighty, so this is a fun award. Next is the Newcomer of the Year award. So this was a dog fight at the very top here. And it was razor thin margin. Pretty actually it matches the same margin as Kenny and Bryan in the first award. Wow. So our nominees: Braun Breaker, Jade Cargill, Carmelo Hayes, Hook, Dante Martin, and Natsupoi. So, finishing in third with 57 points, Braun Breaker. Finishing in second with 101 points, Dante Martin. And with 103 points, 63 first points, Hook. So, this is, this is a really cool award, I think, because it's a rookie of the year kind of thing. It's first year in the big promotion, not necessarily for rookies around, but I think Hook has, he has this charisma. He's got the cool factor on a zillion. He turned being a meme into being, somewhat of a low level star. And he seems like he has a lot going for him to potentially become a really big star. Dante Martin, I think, was just excellent, in the ring, just athletically, jumps out the arena. And Braun Breaker's been kind of a revelation for, there's a lot of trash in NXT 2.0, but he's not part of that, at all. And they may have found, I see a lot of people talking about him like he's the new Cena. So we'll see how it works out with him. You know, Vince hates Steiners. I don't know how tall this young man is, but I don't think he's any bigger than 6 feet. So we'll see how it works out.
He might be 6'1".
We'll see how it works out for him. People that don't like WWE, don't watch NXT, they like Braun Breaker. Pretty much everyone I've talked to universally. So
yep, that's true.
So besides that, James, what'd you think about this thing?
Went about as expected. I thought that Dante Martin did enough bell to bell to overcome the Hook memery, but didn't happen.
Yeah, I voted first for Dante Martin, then I voted for Braun Breaker, then I voted for Natsupoi.
Let's see how I voted. Obviously, I voted for Natsupoi. Natsupoi has more great matches than any of them have good matches together, or very good matches together. But I went Natsupoi. Yeah, I went Natsupoi, Dante Martin, and Carmelo Hayes. Like I treated it because I haven't watched much Braun Breaker, so I'm not gonna be swayed by that. And the same for Hook. Like Hook is just doing I think Hook is going to be good. But I don't know. He's just a fun 3-minute thing right now. So yeah, that's how I went with it. But yeah, I figured that Hook was going to finish at least no worse than second in this thing. But yeah.
Yeah, man. So congratulations to Hook.
Oh, but I remember you mentioned the Braun Breaker thing and how bad that and how bad the NXT 2.0 is, and then it made me think of something that you told me the other day in regards to NXT 2.0. It the show is so bad that when they have any really good match, people will come and tell me that I'm sleeping on it, and then you basically told me that people are acting like this when they're on the 2.0.
Bro, move out the way. Stop right now. I have this 3.75 star Master Watch.
Yo, I gotta tell you, Rich, I wasn't expecting that when you sent me that. But bro, I was fucking in shambles yesterday when I heard that shit. Cause I'm imagining as you saying it, you pushing motherfuckers out the way. Bro, nah, nigga, move. I need to see this 3.3 star. This 3 and 3 7-star match. Move out the way. Move, bitch. Get out the way. All of that. Move, bitch. Get out the way, ho.
Yes.
Fuck that shit.
Yes.
Get out the way, ho. Yes. I was howling, bro. I was in shambles. I want to add that to the show open. Next time we do a new show open, I want that there. In there. This would be thrown in there at random.
Yes.
What is the context? Doesn't matter. It just sounds funny and aggressive.
Yes. What's up to Black Saber Jr. in the comments, first time chatter. See him on Twitter quite often. So up next, we have the Dusty Rhodes Promo Cutter of the Year award. So interesting category here, as always. So our nominees: Big E, Don Callis, CM Punk, Adam Cole. A pathetic finish for Adam Cole, quite frankly. MJF, Eddie Kingston, Dan Lambert, and Miro. So, finishing in third with 73 points, MJF.
I think I know who's going to finish first and second.
Yep. Finishing with 99 points, 45 first place points, CM Punk. And number 1, 2 years in a row, with 126 points, 87 first place points, the God, Eddie Kingston.
Yeah. I voted Eddie second, it's funny, people like Eddie King so much they can't even keep their the story of why they voted people consistent. The case for Eddie Kingston last year would have been that he had better promos that peaked higher, even though he came into the company halfway into the year or 40% into the year, right? Compared to Moxley, who hitting niggas over the head every 2 weeks with a great promo. Then this year comes along. I can't remember anything Kingston did the first half of the year. Kingston's best stuff is with Punk. Punk comes in and has and literally has maybe the best stretch of promos I think I've ever seen from anybody in or since he's came back in a 6-month span or whatever else. Between what he's doing with MJF, what he did with Kingston, what he did basically coming with the comeback promo, the promo he just cut last night, the promo that he also cut, obviously that's I'm talking about that doesn't count in regards to this, but like he had so many great promos, whether it was his return, the Kingston stuff, the MJF stuff, when Moxley left for rehab, like, and I'm just like, all right, if you say so, but like, just know the people that voted for Kingston last year should be voting for Punk this year, but apparently not because they're so in love with Eddie Kingston. So congratulations. I don't know what to tell you. He's a great promo. I voted him back-to-back second place, but like the criteria seems to me to be changing in regards to how much y'all like him.
Yeah, I voted for Eddie Kingston number one. I can definitely talk about when he pretty much saved the exploding barbed wire death match thing, and he cut the promo on that and basically flipped all that shit up. Of course, his work with CM Punk this year, like when Eddie Kingston talks, people listen. Like the room feels
Apparently
different.
So,
and like he's
fight me,
fight me. It's different when he's around here. The stuff he was doing with Miro was awesome.
Redeem these nuts. Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. Got a shirt instantly off that shit. So he just makes the room feel different, man. Like, and like I can't get mad at this. So, but CM Punk was awesome as well. That comeback promo he did in the United Center, the one when Mox that he did in Jacksonville, the first time he showed up to Daly's was great. What he did this past week was great. What he did, I think some of his babyface stuff has been at a higher level than it almost ever was, like in a way, like it, and he's doing it kind of from a pure kind of perspective. Like it's not like he's this dick babyface or whatever. It's like he's this fighting man, that's back in love with, the thing that his real calling.
Let me get this right, Long Island. This is your guy. He's been fucking awesome. He was awesome this year, man, or last year. He was awesome.
Yeah. And MJF, another year for the young building highlight reel. Any style, like you want some cheap, you want someone to go out there and just turn an arena into like a molten, like
mid.
The whole mid thing. His massive or his mastery of like cheap heat was amazing.
He gave Cincinnati the blues. Like that whole run after he lost
to Jericho.
To Jericho and getting to Grand Slam. Like he was just killing the home team. He was killing them stadiums. So yeah, like I mean, I can't remember 2019, but like last year, like he placed 2. So like, him and Kingston are the constants. Obviously, Moxley would have made it a tough place to cover or a tough place to land in the top 3, but he had to go away. But yeah, like it's tough to crack top 3 like in AEW. These days for promos.
Yeah, Adam Cole had 0-0 and 1 single third place vote. So people not watching that NXT stuff. Miro did decent. He got to 4th with his kind of gimmicky God promos. I wasn't really into those, but people liked them. Thought Callis kind of got undervalued a little bit, but that's cool. Lambert only had 19 points as well.
Where would that place him?
So it looks like he is 5th. Dan Lambert was 5th.
Okay.
So, and then Callis was 6. So Big E would be 7. Adam Cole would be number 8. So congratulations to Eddie Kingston, top of the mountain by a lot, by about 26 points. Up next, AEW Wrestler of the Year. So, yeah, man, this has been a great category over the years. In 2019, I remember Cody won it. I thought it should have been Jericho, but that's okay. 2020, of course, was Jon Moxley. Got a win on it. And this year, our nominees. Number 1, Darby Allin, the Young Bucks, Bryan Danielson, MJF, Eddie Kingston, the Lucha Bros, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page. So, with 40 points in 3rd place, the Cowboy, Hangman Page. In 2nd place with 89 points, Bryan Danielson.
What?
And with 154 points, 126 first place points, sheer dominance, the best bout machine, Kenny Omega. So happy for Kenny to get this one. I think he's going to win Flair Thez. Like he's just business went up on his watch. Great matches. I indeed hear the battle cry. And it was electric to see him in all those environments. Especially like I attended Double or Nothing. Remember his entrance was like, he came out with all the belts. It was like iconic. Of course, like him and Danielson, in Arthur Ashe Stadium, I'll never forget that. Like the bell rings, they just stand in those two corners, the crowd just fucking loses it. Like it's like the Rock or the Rock Hogan of our era to me. Like I think Kenny was like, he did all this working through, injury, of course, creating a new star on the back off of him at a higher level. Like, we're going to talk about the Cody episode, when we get to it on Monday. We're going to talk about, who's making stars and who's not, and who's really like making stars and who's not. But Kenny's really making stars, and that'll be a preview. When you look at Hangman, how much work was put into him, while maintaining your own credibility, while fucking with the Jungle Boy out there, while doing a bunch of trios matches and like going to other companies and, giving them their best ratings and buy rates. Like this nigga was on another level, man. Like, it's not my, like, I don't think 2018 will ever be top just because like, I think physically
he was wrestling better wrestlers.
And like, it was just, I think that's the best year. Like, it's one of the best years ever. Like, I think that's the best year he's had for sure. But this was in a different way where it was almost like, oh, we got the American validation now. Like, he can do it here. Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is my second favorite Kenny Omega year. I've been watching him ever since 2017. This is my second favorite Kenny Omega year. Which is saying something. 2017 was fucking outrageous too. But yeah. The reason why I like blew up as you were going through the ratings, how the fuck did Hangman place over the Young Bucks? What?
I think winning the title. But
he did nothing for half a year, Rich.
I know. He did nothing for half a year. I didn't vote for him. I voted second for the Bucks.
Same here. I voted Danielson third.
Same. We had the same ballot. A little quick on the Bucks. Can you find a better tag team title reign than what they just did? I don't know. Like, you definitely, like, the way they won it, lost it, and then operated in between face and heel, both sides, TV, however you want to do it, completely changing their, ditching their longtime persona with the tassels and everything, flipping up their look, and, I was told these guys, you couldn't, like, these guys are A-level stars. Like, the Bucks were incredible this year. And then, like, I don't know how they didn't place.
I don't know. But if I were to say what were the 10 best matches between between Hangman Adam Page and the Young Bucks, Adam Page has gets three of them in there from last year?
Maybe, yeah. I had to look at it.
The Danielson match, the Omega match, and let's say the Brian Cage match.
Right. I feel like the Bucks have like
the other 7 would be the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And the best match would be the Cage match.
Yep, and that's before you talk about what they did at Double or Nothing with Moxley and Kingston.
The fourth match. It's I don't know, man. That's weird to me. Like maybe it's the thing where like, well, they're a tag team, so fuck them. Maybe that's what it is. Like, how you gonna be the rest of the year when y'all are two wrestlers? I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But man, like, I thought Nick Jackson as a tag team in a single was so spectacular this year that like, I'm sorry. Like you to be honest, like. I probably would have voted Hangman 5th on this thing behind the Lucha Bros / Ray Phoenix too. Like man. I don't know, man. Y'all really love that story. Y'all really do. But like y'all love that story so much that like y'all ain't helping that dude draw like that. Just to validate that he's that kind of over. But whatever, man. More power to y'all. That's shit's wild. Shit's wild to me.
Yeah. So like, once again, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks dominating, or Young Bucks didn't win, but when
they got the guy over, they got the guy placed.
Correct. Danielson comes in and gets number 2
in 4 months.
In 4 months, like I think the deal with him was like he was so much more active in those 4 months than someone like an MJF was the whole year.
Oh yeah.
Eddie Kingston didn't wrestle that many matches. Phoenix is getting hurt left and right, so Lucha Bros weren't active as that much. Darby maybe had wrestled that much. He had a TNT run earlier in the year. But in those 4 months, they packed him on Dynamite and Rampage just back to back to back to back to back to back to back. So
he went out there and got 40 back to back to back to back to back too. like don't like I know what you mean, but yeah, like he just how he finished number 1 for Wrestler of the Year or Most Outstanding Wrestler, whatever you want to call it. Same thing applies with that 4 months he spent in AEW is what got him here.
Yep.
So yeah, I get why he finished. I get why he placed, but I am really surprised by the Young Bucks thing. Just really surprised.
Yeah. But congratulations to Kenny Omega. So up next, we got the AEW Women's Wrestler of the Year. So our nominees: The Doctor, Britt Baker; number 2, Jay Cargill; Ty Conti; Serena Deeb; Thunder Rosa; and Hikaru Shida. So, in third place with 61 points, Serena Deeb. In second place with 84 points, Thunder Rosa. And number 1 with 115 points, 90 first place points, Britt Baker.
I think that sounds about right. Like Britt's going to be number 1, and then everything else is a battle for who else is going to place. So it really doesn't matter. But I think people have slept on.
You know what?
Cheetah's
I messed
year.
up. You know what? I messed up.
Okay.
Third place, not Serena Deeb. Third place, Hikaru Shida.
Okay, makes
with
more sense now.
71 points. Sorry
makes more
about
sense
that.
now. Okay.
I had the wrong thing highlighted.
Okay. Makes more sense to me. Yeah, so I think I voted Deeb third. And that's only because like Thunder Rosa, while everyone loves her and she had the best women's match in the company's history, she also wasn't around that much. Compared to Deeb, in even Shida, in especially Britt. So, I mean, I feel like those are the top 3. But yeah, like I end up going with Deeb third and Hikaru second and Britt. I was forced to have to vote her first. So, yeah, it sounds right. Like what percentage of how many of the first place votes did Britt win?
She got 90 points on first place. Nobody else got more than 33. So,
okay.
I went Shida, Rosa, Britt. Britt, of course, wins the title. Match with Thunder Rosa. Won a bunch of most improved wrestler awards, PWI awards, and stuff like that. Great mic work first half of the year. They kind of formed a unit around her. She was on every pay-per-view, I believe. She was on every pay-per-view after she won the title, of course. The last 3 had the big match in the beginning. Yeah, it was hers. It was the year she really became like a star. And, it was coming. It was always coming.
Yeah, this year was the follow-through of what she started with promos last year.
Yeah. So, congratulations to the Doctor. I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive this coming year.
Oh, yeah. Like Thunder Rosa is going to run away with that shit next year or this year.
Especially with like the new influx of talent that's probably on the way in. They're probably all going to, be laying down for Thunder. So, congratulations to the Doc.
Good matches in the pay-per-view.
Up next, Stardom Wrestler of the Year. So the B. Priestley Legacy Award.
Oh, this man. That's why you smiled before you said it. How did I get this shit in?
So we've got our nominees: Utami Hayashishita, Mayu Iwatani, Julia, Saya Kamatani, Starlight Kid, Micah, Tam Nakano, and Shuri. So when I was counting this thing, I was like, man, which way is this going to go? This is
who's going to finish first between Utami and Shuri?
Two. Yes, this is a top two thing. So we'll get to third place with 24 points, Mayu Iwatani.
Wow, that's nonsense. Go ahead.
In second place, 48 first place points, 95 overall, Shuri. And number one, Big U with 103 points.
So how close was it between Shuri and how close was it between those two?
Tommy finished 8 points in front of Shuri.
Okay. I was gonna say, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, it was gonna be close between whoever did it. Utami got to
vote for.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Utami. Thoughts on Utami?
Yeah. I mean, anyone could have won between her and Shuri. I think Shuri. Utami got the edge by being in the main events, all those main events of pay-per-views. Like she main evented every pay-per-view except for the biggest one, Budokan Hall. But she was great all throughout the year. Constantly racking up, 4.25, 4.5 here, challenging for 4 3/4 there. And then, she had the two matches with Shuri that were, match of the year, contenders, legitimate match of the year contenders. So yeah, she was great. I ended up going with Shuri second, or actually first. Cause her best matches, Utami's best matches were with Shuri, but you look at what Shuri did in the last night of the Grand Prix, just going back to 4 3/4 star match. Give me 25 minutes. I got one even better than me in the final to go. That kind of stuff was just so impressive, and I thought that she was fantastic. And I just thought at a certain point, she was just the best wrestler of the summer. She just was. So I ended up going with her first. And my third was Tam, because Tam was the third best wrestler in the company. I don't know what the Mayu thing is. Mayu had she got cycled down. I think she basically had 4 great matches, or not great, but 4 super matches all year. It spread out around her doing, the stuff with Starlight Kid, and I think that stuff was fun, but for the most part, it was I kind of dread having to watch the NASCAR tour shit. So, she, I think when she was able to do what she could do, and she was able to be great, but it was few and far between, and she was meant to facilitate stuff more than actually be the top star, even though she still is. This is very a Tanahashi type of year, maybe 2-3 years ago.
When Utami, Shuri, and Tam, I gave Utami the edge because of the main events, but Shuri, it could have easily been Shuri's award. I don't think I was necessarily more impressed with Utami, but the fact that she was the champion, doing it in the main events, and the match quality not being that different, and also her being part of that legacy, the legendary rivalry they had, I went ahead and went with Utami. Next year, probably Shuri's award. So we'll see how it all plays out. But besides that, I guess I can give you some granular voting. So
who finished last?
Micah finished last. Only 5 points for Micah, but the second, third, and fourth were all, third, 3, 4, and 5 were all within 1 point. So Mayu was 24, Tam 23, and then Julia 22. So Tam does finish in front of Julia here, which is, poetic there.
Julia.
Starlight Kid gets the second most first place points.
Really?
Actually, she tied with Tam. Sorry.
Wait. So Tam finished second for first place votes?
No, she finished third. Tied for third.
Oh, okay. All right. Whatever. We're getting too granular. Let's move on.
Yep. So up next, we've got our Hart Austin Feud of the Year. So looking at it here, and here are our nominees. CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. Utami versus Shuri. Inner Circle versus The Pinnacle. Kenny Omega versus Adam Page, Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, and the Young Bucks versus Death Triangle. Number 3, Utami versus Shuri.
Surprised I finished that high.
Number 2, CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. It was short, but it was great. And number 1, with 140 points, 105 first place, shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, Kenny Omega versus Adam Page. So, the story of the promotion culminating with the biggest, let's just say that, the story of the promotion culminating. Let's say that. And it was great by the time it was all said and done. And it was, it took people on the twists and turns, the thinking he's not going to win. I remember people openly advocating for Hangman Page to go to fucking WWE. Like, I'm like,
There's a segment clip of us telling people not to jump off the bridge.
Yeah. Like, you want to talk about victory laps? Yeah. Man, that was like...
And that was the summer.
That was easy, too.
Yeah, it was.
Like it wasn't... Like, it took no genius, nothing. But Kenny and Hangman were their shit was started in, 2019. Like, match was built up for 2 years, damn near. So, that's just gonna win. Punk and Kingston, it was like I'm not a drug user or anything, but I imagine this is what a couple of lines of cocaine feel like. It's just takes you sky high real quick and then you come down real fast because it's over. So this was great, but with Tommy and Shuri, I think this got lots of people into Stardom. It was a match that broke through the Joshi bubble. And a series that broke through the Joshi bubble, particularly that first match, and I think that might be the highest kind of placing feud, from Stardom like that.
Since we started covering Stardom in 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 4 was Young Bucks versus Death Triangle. That was pretty cool to see them get that love on there.
Yeah, I voted that over the Kingston and CM Punk thing. I need more than one match for a Feud of the Year contender. I'll put it on there and respect it, but there were so many great combinations of Phoenix or Penta versus the Young Bucks this year that it's maybe people just forgot. I don't know, but
yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
I feel like listening to the show, I'm like, this is Young Bucks erasure. What the fuck is going on?
Look, I'm wearing the Young Bucks shirt, and Jim is like, this is ridiculous.
Yes, I'm like, what's going on here, man? This is wild. No.
I think the Bucks are gonna pick some up. I can pretty much say that, but but they should be picking up more.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's that Eddie Kingston and CM Punk match, that's CM Punk's best match, his returning. That match is awesome. 4.5 stars. How many 4.5 stars did the versions of the Young Bucks and Phoenix and Penta have? Come on, man.
Bro,
4 this year? 5?
There's at least 2 5-star matches in that.
Look, man. I you know what? I think it also had the benefit of it being so far at the end of the year, as opposed to most of the Young Bucks stuff and Penta stuff and Phoenix stuff happened the first third of the year. Maybe that's also takes into account, but it's also what was what was the best match of the year to y'all then? This is all right. I get it. The promos are killer. The promos are absolutely killer. It's one match.
Yeah, my ballot was Utami and Shuri, then Kenny and Hangman, then Bucks and Death Triangle. I thought, just the work in Utami and Shuri was multiple matches. And
I had I had the same top 3 as you. I swapped out. I had the Young Bucks, Lucha Bros above the Omega and Kenny because Omega and Kenny, again, one match this year. If you want to include that 5v5
I think
thing,
you should include that. Yeah, that 5 versus 5. That shit was that was a great fucking match.
That was great. It was as good as the 4th iteration of Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros this year. I'm sorry. Like, y'all don't like matches?
So up next, we've got one of our traditional, flagship awards, I would say, with the One Nation Radio Awards, the Savage Banks Best Dressed Ring Gear Award. And this was the first time Sasha Banks was not nominated for this award. She of course, I put her name in the award last year, but this year, I think she took a step back. And she wasn't around. Yeah. So, like, maybe she'll be back next year or, whatever. But, I was not a fan of her WrestleMania gear.
You don't like her looking like she's a member of DX?
Nope. I feel like my Sasha Banks should be wearing, like, a purple or blue somewhere. Like, and it didn't. But let's get to it. So, we got Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Bryan Danielson, Utami, Miro, Ruby Soho, Shuri, and the Young Bucks. So, number 3, Jade Cargill with 56 points. Number 2 with 67 points, 45 first place points, Bianca Belair. And number 1 with 81 points, 48 first place points, the Young Bucks. So they finally showed the Young Bucks some love on Best Dressed Ring Gear Award here.
Yay. Like the best in-ring wrestling actor, one of the 4 or 5 in the world. Like, yeah, they can hold all the real awards. Give them a B award. All right. I see what y'all doing. Y'all
playing with Matt and Nick.
Y'all trying to assuage y'all guilt.
Y'all playing with Matt and Nick, goddamn it! So this is a year where, I was saying earlier, Matt and Nick, traded out their trademark stuff and essentially created new trademarks and everything like that. They pulled a lot of J's out. They did a lot of outfit, basically the whole outfit with the J's. Like it was pretty impressive and looked pretty good.
Yeah, they did all this with fake Jordans. Allegedly. I don't know. I don't care.
I don't know. I always had a problem with that because, how are y'all telling this? Like, y'all X-ray zooming this shit? Like, do y'all have laser vision? Like, what are we doing here? So, y'all just sound like y'all hating. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like y'all broke. Are y'all broke? So, yeah, man. The Bucks, I thought they were pretty cool. I'm partial to the tassel look and everything like that, but this got over in a new way.
I do like this look more than the tassels.
Bianca Belair, I thought her WrestleMania gear was all time. Her SummerSlam gear was all time. We didn't see her get to wear it for that long, of course, in her match, but she's always showing up looking great.
Yeah,
no other way to say it.
Yeah, she plays for me, so yeah,
and Jade Cargill, I always talk about there's somebody that's always looks like real professional, real like a star, like the shiny gear. She took it to a new level even than people in the past I've advocated for that for like Cody or Britt Baker. Like Jade's on another level. When she came out in that white at the end of the year, it was like, she's got a white version of this too. What the fuck? Her shit is either the gold shit, or she's got some purple shit. She's got white shit. She busts out the black shit at the beginning of this year or whatever. So she's probably gonna be on this thing for years to come. I voted number 1 though for Utami. There was no better gear I think than her, and she was just with the ring jacket, the Xena Warrior Princess / battle warrior type thing. That shit was fly. Then I had the Bucks, then Jade.
Yeah, I voted Tommy 3rd, and I voted Shuri 1 because I don't think anyone had more numerous gear that was awesome. I thought that her stuff from the Wonder Woman gear to the base the warrior soldier thing she was wearing in the Grand Prix to her her Wrestle Kingdom gear to even what she wore at Sumo Hall. Like, I thought that like she had so many different looks for different occasions, to the turquoise deal she was wearing as like the outpost match to get to the June 12th match with Utami. Like, I thought that she was awesome. So yeah, that's what I went with. But yeah, I mean, it could have went to anybody. Like, everybody was fly that was dressed in, that made this list, to be honest with you.
Yep. Like, you know, from somebody like Danielson, who was kind of reinvigorated, like once he cared again, he started like dressing, like compare what he was wearing in WWE to what he was wearing in AEW. My God. Miro, like, you know, tough kind of boxer shorts look, UFC fighter, something like that. Rui Soho, taking the gear to a new level when she came to AEW. Like, I
think the whole package of her with like her jackets put it over the top for her.
Yep, and you know, jackets that she liked so much. Sometimes the match would start and she would still be wearing the jacket. Can't take the jacket off.
That's because she got caught. Hey, and also not only they couldn't get out the jacket, she trying to whip the jacket off her and nothing doing. That jacket was staying.
So, congratulations to the Bucks. So up next, the Put 'em in a Coffin Award. It is time to get out the shovels. It is time to say our fathers, Hail Mary, full of grace. It is time to put someone in the coffin. Wrestler who needs to completely go away or start over. So our nominees: Nikki A.S.H., The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, The House of Torture, The Miz, Dom Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, NXT 2.0 as a staff, record label, and crew, and Natsuko Tora taking her annual spot on this list. So, number 3, The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, had goo coming out of her head at one point, sitting on a box-like structure. Whatever the fuck that is.
Literally in the process of starting over. Currently.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes was nominated. Sorry. I forgot to mention him. Yes, okay, Cody Rhodes was nominated.
Definitely. A terrible year until mid-December.
Yes, a terrible year. Should have placed. We'll get to it, but was number 2 with 76 points. NXT 2.0 as a staff, record label, and crew. Anytime you got to blow up the greatest thing a company has ever produced, you got to do it. To only have worse results. Anytime you can do that, just move everyone out of the way to do that.
Less buzz, less butts in seats, less tickets sold, less eyes on the product, less acclaim. But remember,
bro, move out the way. Stop right now. I have this 3.75 star Master Watch.
So, thank you.
Yep. And then
I'll
number
never
1,
forgive y'all for this shit.
Number 1 with 81 first place points and 103 overall. We didn't watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, but yeah, the House of Torture won this bitch, and I think them winning shows that the voters here did, like, this is what ran them off. Or this
exactly.
is keeping them away.
Yeah, like, damn, the Western fans don't watch this much. What's the worst act in most damaging act in all pro wrestling in 2021? Oh, them.
Bad. Nothing redeemable.
Like
Big Togo in the ring, out the ring. It's all bad ideas.
There was a stretch where, like, because, Bullet Club has had terrible finishes and heat and interference in their matches for damn near a decade at this point, right? But there was a point where, like, I was like, hey, man, are we just tripping here? Is it just us complaining after, And I ended up going through the Twitter replies to tweets on New Japan Pro Wrestling from the domestic fans. And, like, it was just on and on and on, like, where it was, like, literally there was no letting up. They hated that shit as much or worse than we did. They were like, every evil match is the same. Evil is always boring. It's the same shit. Get it out. I'm tired of it. I still have the screenshots of the translations, but like, yo, that's not a Western thing. That is a everyone that has eyes and ears and pays attention thing.
Yeah,
they fucking suck.
This is not the thing that, you know, people like to say, oh, it's only the Western fans that are upset about this. You know, you'll see people saying stuff like that, but no, that is not the case.
Wrestling John and Wrestling Omakase packed up because of them.
Yikes. I think that the House of Torture and Evil, this has been, like, I feel like there have been a couple detrimental things to New Japan Pro Wrestling as they fell out of, like, that golden period we were in. Mm-hmm. Evil's in the top 3. Yeah. So, if not number 1, but, yeah, man, it's bad. But I'm upset with you voters.
Let me get my point real quick before you go off. If you had told me that, like, in 2019, 2020, when Sho was out here chasing after Shingo, that he would then be doing this shit, I wouldn't have believed you. This shit's awful. He's out here being a heel against his own long-term tag team partner, and they have the chemistry of two people that just met each other. Like, that promo that Moxley cut last night saying that, like, the first time he met Danielson is when Danielson showed up 45 minutes late because of a plane delay, and they first met in the ring after the match had to be late 45 minutes. Like, they have less chemistry than Danielson and Moxley 12 years ago, whatever the fuck that was. Like, it's awful. I can't believe this. Like, watch Stardom. Sorry, watch Stardom.
The superior Bushiroad product. Like I said, now it's time to use the Zoom. Right here. How dare you not vote Cody Rhodes number 1? How dare you watch all that bad television the last 7 months when this dude couldn't figure out his ass from his elbow in the ring? How dare you watch him cut these promos about ending racism by having a mixed child and not vote him number 1? How dare you not vote him number 1 when he had Aleister Black turned him into a fucking goofball that spits mist in the second one, gets booed out of Arthur Ashe Stadium, gets booed out of Jacksonville, gets booed out of his hometown, turning pay-per-views, hot pay-per-views, the hottest crowds of the year into awkward silence multiple times. How dare you not vote for him and place him on this? As this man ruined his career inside the ring, it affected him outside the ring when it came back. How dare you? Zoom out done. Had to look dead in the camera for that, you know.
That man until mid-December had a much worse match guide than the worst adult in Stardom. Not saying that's the end all to be all, but he had so many television segments and promos that were awful. One of the last memories, the second to last memory we'll have of him is him on top of a ladder. In AEW anyway, for now, will be him on top of a ladder cutting a promo about everything but his fucking opponent. And then he loses to that opponent, and then he's never to be seen again in AEW.
Fitting end.
We were told this was all going somewhere. It was not.
We were lied to. Like, you were worked. He was worked. He worked himself. So, moving on. The Jeff Jarrett Finesser of the Year Award. So this is one of my favorite awards. This is who took advantage of their situations to get the most out of them, who worked their way into big spots, who is the swiftest business person. So,
before we start this, I have no idea how this is going to go. I just voted for the stuff I thought was the funniest. And, like, let's see where the chips fall, because I have no critique on what was right or wrong for this. I just voted.
Yeah. Okay. Number 3. Or, excuse me. let's go through the nominees. The Good Brothers in AEW. Kenny Omega not having to drop the Impact title in Impact. Vince McMahon licenses the WWE Network to Peacock for big money. Tam Nakano defends the championship against only her backstage friends. Paul Heyman manipulates Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns into being a feud about him. Dick Togo continues to gain influence over New Japan booking. So, with 75 points, the Good Brothers in AEW. Shout out to Big Brother Dangley. Carl Anderson will come in here and work real hard for you. But, after a while, it's like, why are they still here?
That's true.
Number 2, with 79 points, 54 first place points, Vince McMahon licenses the WWE Network to Peacock for big money. It was another $1 billion deal that came in for them to basically sell the shit they already had and then not have to prop it up on their own shit anymore. But number 1 with 91 points, also 54 first place points, Dick Togo continues to gain influence over New Japan booking.
That's funny. Like, I had nothing even close to what place, right? But I got number 1 right, according to the fans, the voters. Because that's, man, like, the Dick Togo thing is a problem. The House of Torture thing is a problem. Like, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be handled. It needs to be changed.
Yeah. I had number 1. I voted Kenny not having to drop the Impact title in Impact. And
I voted that third.
And there was even another layer to that. He didn't have to lose it to an Impact wrestler. That was the third part of that. Then I voted for Vince McMahon licenses the network, and then Paul Heyman manipulates Brock versus Roman into a feud about him. I don't think enough people are giving this credit. I feel like this should have placed.
I voted that second.
Yeah, maybe there are some people that have read this and they're into the Brock and Heyman thing, and they didn't like that, and then they realized, what was going on, and then they were
that's
like,
how they're being conned.
Exactly, and they were like, "Hold on," and then didn't give it the proper vote.
Gotcha.
But that's just my theory. But congratulations to Dick Togo. Dick Togo back-to-back awards, House of Torture, and to put him in a coffin, and the Jarrett Finesser of the Year. I don't know if that's ever been done.
I don't think
Making
so.
history.
Well, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, so congrats, if you will.
Up next, the Rocky Who Booked This Shit Failure of the Year award. So I don't think Dick Togo's nominated in this category for any specific action.
If he was, he would have won, apparently.
Yeah. They do not fuck with the Dick Togo here. So the nominees: Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, the Dud after Omega and Moxley, the Zombies eat wrestlers in WWE, The Rock / Egg at Survivor Series, Bearcat Lee, Drew McIntyre post WWE Championship, unifying the lineage of the IWGP, IC, and heavyweight titles in Big E's WWE Championship reign. Third place with 58 points, the Zombies eat the wrestlers in WWE. Number 2, 66 points, 39 first place points, unifying the lineage of the IWGP and IC championships. And number 1 with 137 points and overwhelming 114 first place points, Bianca Belair at SummerSlam. All awful. And this is like different levels of awful, right? So our first place winner, this shows you how you blow a potential star and completely just throw them out the way like nothing. This is robbing your fans. This is we've gone through everything wrong with this. The false advertising, everything. And it was just a complete disaster, trash area. And number 2, the unifying the lineage, that's fucking up a historical thing of your company that you use to basically sell tickets that everyone loves. And then Zombies eat wrestlers in WWE. It's like the worst thing. It's like the branding stuff that just sucks the life out of anything. the zombies literally eating the wrestlers, which is insane on its face.
And Miz blew his knee out in the process of that bullshit too.
Yes, exactly.
Like that, like the part that he's added on to it is someone also got hurt.
Yep. Just baffling. Like all this shit. What did I vote for? Okay, I voted for Bianca Belair at SummerSlam, Big E's championship reign, and then zombies eat wrestlers in WWE.
Okay, so my third was the New Japan fucking up the title lineage. I had number 2 Bianca at SummerSlam, and number 1 for me was the dud after Moxley and Omega, because I was just like, yo, I can't believe that. Like, I still think, right, before that dud goes off, that is the best rivalry in AEW history. Best feud, best rivalry in AEW history. And then the shit don't go off. And like Eddie Kingston looks like an asshole. Jon Moxley looks like an asshole. Kenny Omega looks like an asshole for rigging up duds. Like, the promotion looks like an asshole. And I look like an asshole for believing in this company when that dud goes off. So like, I was just really down on it. And like, honestly, like, we got to go back. Like, I have to rewatch, but like, that match may have been better than their Lights Out match. And no one will ever remember it as such. Or the general public will not remember it as such. And it'll be just some bullshit that happened at the beginning of 2021, as opposed to one of the better matches of the year at worst. Like, yeah. it ruined a lot of good effort for me. And I was like, that fucking sucks for those guys. And it also sucks for me. Most importantly, it sucked for me.
Oh, yeah. Lots of terrible stuff. Drew McIntyre had a 0-0-1, so he only had one single third place vote,
Maybe
which was
feel like, well, you know, that's kind of what it is when you work at the E.
Big E's championship reign, I definitely think, you know, whenever you lose 7 times as the WWE champion during a football season title reign, that's pretty bad.
Shit. That's some Seth Rollins shit from 2015.
Yeah. I would challenge. I wonder whose title reign was worse: Seth Rollins' Universal title in 2019 or Big E's WWE Championship reign. You figure it out.
I'm going to say 2019 Seth, because they wholly rejected him. They wholly rejected him.
Look, Big E didn't get rejected. Then they never embarrassed him the way they embarrassed Seth, and this was still all time bad.
Crying in the corner. That Hell in a Cell match is one of the worst matches of all time. I still can't believe personally,
that's the worst wrestling match I've ever watched. Personally,
ain't no way. There's no way you haven't watched some shitty match in Stardom.
Embarrassment to the profession. Like, I thought it was just like it was a parody of what wrestling is. Like, it was so.
You know what a parody of professional wrestling is? Watching two teenagers with less than like 50 matches try to throw elbows at each other. That's that. So I get what you mean. You talking about being on a big stage? I get it.
Yes.
But yo, I have definitely seen matches worse. More embarrassing, maybe not, but worse, definitely.
So up next, our next category, we've got Gimmick of the Year. So this is the best vehicle to get over. So we got 6 nominees here. Being the Elite, Kenny Omega is the belt collector, Dan Lambert, an old school hater, Miro, the Redeemer, Hook, and Hit Row, a rap click. So with 78 points, 48 first place points, Kenny Omega, the belt collector, with 93 points, 42 first place points, Miro, the Redeemer, and 104 points, 63 first place points, Hook. So they love the Hook.
Apparently so. Yeah.
This should have been Kenny's, but
I voted Kenny number 1 too, because it's like, you know, he's the number 1 guy in the world.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more valuable and over than everything else.
Being a meme wrestler that's squashing people. And yes, I agree. For like, especially for like only like a third of the year, if that.
Yeah,
but whatever. Like, I like the Hook, but y'all keep this shit up. Y'all gonna make me unlike the Hook because y'all take this shit a bit too far.
Yeah. So what you saying, James, is you watching for the Hook? That's what you're saying?
Yes. Cool Breeze and Outcast and Goody Mob, all that. Yes, Dungeon Family.
So up next, the WWE Match of the Year. This should be great.
I mean, we know what's going to win. I'm wondering what's going to. I'm wondering what's going to finish third. Honestly.
So our what we got here, our nominees: Johnny Gargano versus Kushida, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan versus Edge, Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan, Walter versus Ilya Dragunov, Edge versus Seth Rollins, Hell in a Cell, NXT Men's War Games. Our third place with 35 points, Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Second place, 75 points. Main event of night 1 of WrestleMania, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair. So Sasha finishing in front of someone who I was told was an all-time great. Yeah.
Yet again.
And this one is no surprise. 134 points, a whopping 120 first place points. Walter versus Ilya Dragunov in NXT.
Yep.
A fucking war. 5 of the easiest stars I've ever given in my life. Yep. Completely bone-shattering match. Just over, I believe it was a 21-minute or 23-minute match. It was like the peak of violence. It was amazing.
It's a match to where you play, for me anyway. It's a match for me to where like I can kind of feel the length of a match. In like this one, what time? Time is a construct. This shit was awesome. I'm just sucked in, and I'm just like eyes just as big as like saucers, and like maybe my eyes dilated because I was getting some of that good dope watching that. Good hit, a good high. I love this match. Like, it was one of my favorite matches of the year, which we'll talk about later. But I love the match. Interesting that Walter in Ciampa finished third. It also finished third on my ballot. I thought that it wouldn't. For the general fans, I had Johnny versus Kushida as my number 2, but I had 1 and 3 just like them. Like, I just think that like the Johnny Kushida match is like outrageously great. And if I had a 4th, I would have put Bianca and Sasha. But like, I get it, biggest show of the year.
Yeah, man.
And also, like, it had the emotional attachment of people. People love Bianca. People love Bianca, and they did that shit to her in the summer. Assholes.
Yep. I thought Sasha was incredible in this match. Yep. Ring generalship, like
incredible story.
This was a Flair-like performance from Sasha Banks. Just, if that's the peak of her career, like, what a way to, like, she's always had to put people over, right? But what she did that night, it was 17 minutes. They didn't have they didn't have the extra bloat because they were running late that night. I think time got cut off the match, and I think it was for the benefit. This only went 17 minutes, and it was just phenomenal. And the Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa in the beginning of the year was, it was on TV, and it was like, this was a great match. And then it was like
great story, great selling. Like, he's getting ass ate up by chops, and like Ciampa's like holding on. He's like, all right, let me get out the way. And, he ends up chopping the table, and Walter's selling from there. And he's doing all this stuff to block up the chops. And like Walter has to overcome like, how bad do you want to overcome this chopping thing when that's your big thing? Like, it's your move, and you can't do your move. And like, they were awesome together. They really were. Like, Walter's special. Like, that's fucking obvious, but like, that dude is like elite and actually one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. Actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. It is, quite interesting to see where everything finished. So NXT Men's War Games got got 2 third place votes for a grand total of 2 points. Edge and Seth Rollins finished 7th in the Hell in a Cell with 15 points.
That's appropriate. Seth finished 7th for WWE Wrestler of the Year.
And Edge finished 8th. So, yeah.
You're an asshole. You're an asshole.
So, yeah, man. I think it's just, Walter owns this category. He's owned it the last couple years.
He's won the last 3. No, he's won the last 2.
he didn't win the last 3? Like Walter and Tyler Bate?
Did Walter Bate win last year? Or 2019?
I think so. I'd have to check.
It'd either be that or one of them Gargano Coles.
You know what?
And Gargano Cole probably split the may have split the vote.
I think it may have been one of them Gargano matches.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's always going to be in the hunt until they, 2.0 him up there.
That's funny.
They gonna shut him out this year.
Man. Yeah, that man's name is Gunther now. So who knows?
Gunther finna get shut out this year.
So up next,
see to that.
We've got the AEW Match of the Year. So this is going to be a great category. Our nominees, Omega versus Danielson, Arthur Ashe Stadium, Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros cage match, Young Bucks versus Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page, Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa, and the Young Bucks versus Pac and Rey Fenix. So, with 63 points, Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson comes in third. Second place with 91 points, 54 first place points, the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros cage match. And number one with 114 points, 75 first place points, Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson, Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Huh. Go over that. Go. What's third again?
Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson.
Wow, Omega and Page in place.
Yep. They finished fourth.
Okay. That's wow. All right.
Great category. Omega and Danielson, like I said, I just felt like it was the real biggest match of the year. Like it was just like a dream match, a first time match that, of course he wrestled in PWG, but like nobody's talking about that. The Arthur Ashe Stadium, legendary kind of feel around the arena, breaking his own new true crazy house, great ratings. And just like an incredible match, like I'm never going to forget that match.
I mean, you're talking about that Kenny Omega and Danielson match for PWG. That's probably around the time that where like Kenny Omega was out here looking like Chris Martin from Coldplay. So yeah, I definitely don't remember that shit. Yeah, man. I mean, there were lots of matches to pick through. I was surprised that Omega and Hangman didn't make it. Wow. I'm surprised that Omega and Danielson, this fits in line with these awards. More Young Bucks erasure. Like this,
look, I'll say this. They only picked up 9 points for Bucks versus Moxley and Kingston. 9 points. That's one of the, I don't know. I
love that match
in person, bro, that match is like, it's one of the greatest matches I've ever seen in person. Like it was just like the last 10 minutes of the match. You remember when we were at Madison Square Garden and like it was like the closing stretch where Okada and Jay White were going at it and everybody was standing on their feet like the last couple minutes. This was like the last like 10 or 15 minutes of that match was like that. It was like off the fucking Richter, but Bucks and Lucha Bros in a cage match. That actually won the Voice of Wrestling Match of the Year poll. I believe the Observer Awards are going to be out, within the next day or so. So that's likely a favorite there as well.
Yep.
But they handicapped themselves with the cage, really. Didn't do a ton of flying, but all they did was like creative spots and really violent shit and creative shit. And this one, I think, went about 22 minutes as well. And great title change, great atmosphere, great entrance by the Lucha Brothers and the Bucks. Like, it's important how champions drop titles, and you do it clean in the middle, you do it in the fucking cage, you do it clean as it gets, and it was just a great moment because like I remember like Phoenix and Penta, like they had their kids there, like their family was outside the ring, like this was this was magic.
Yeah, it was awesome. And like I didn't even know how long that match even went. Like even until just now, I never even knew the time on that match. Like it was an awesome match, and one of the few matches of the year while watching. I'm like in the middle of watching it, I'm just like, it's 5 stars, and like it still feels like we're like going into the closing stretch, like the final third of the match. There's only 2-3 matches all year where I felt like that. Like, for example, I felt the same thing while watching Walter Dragunov. I did not feel that about Shuri and Utami, the first one. That match is awesome. It was. It's one of the best matches of all time.
Yep. Yeah, and Heyman versus Danielson, our draw at the end of the year. Yep. So like 2 draws in here for your AEW. Yeah. So AEW and Stardom out here trading ideas. I see. So the funny thing is, I was listening to Keeping It Strong Style this week. You know, they got that Okada Naito match coming up.
Yeah, right? And it's what, Sunday, right?
Like they were floating that draw idea out there for those guys doing that shit because, you know, it's like if you beat Naito right now, it's like he's kind of out of the title picture the whole year. They got all these 50th years things. Like they want to maybe do multiple matches, and it's like it's out there. People talking about it.
Do you think it's a wise idea in 2022 for Tetsuya Naito? I can't zoom, so I'll get closer. Do you think it's a good idea in 2022, the year of our Lord, if that's what you believe in, that Tetsuya Naito wrestles a full fucking hour? Does that sound like a wise choice to you?
It does not.
Yeah, nah, man. Don't do that shit.
Up next, Stardom Match of the Year. So
what finished third? We know what finished 1 and 2.
Well, we've
really.
We've got a bit of a surprise here. So let's go through our nominees. We've got Julia versus Sam, white belt hair versus hair match. Utami versus Shuri, the red belt match from June. Mayu Iwatani versus Momo, 5-star Grand Prix match. Momo versus Shuri, 5-star Grand Prix final. Tam Nakano versus Mayu Iwatani, white belt match. Utami versus Takumi Iroha, red belt match. Tam versus Saya Kamatani, white belt match. And Utami versus Shuri, the red belt title change from the very end of the year at the buzzer. So, with 59 points, Utami versus Shuri, the red belt no time limit match. Number 2, with 60 points, 1 point difference there. The hair versus hair white belt match, Julia versus Tam. And number 1 with 82 points, the match that broke the bubble, 51 first place points, Utami versus Shuri, the red belt match in June.
I am surprised that the red belt match from December did not beat out the white belt match, but like the white belt match is the white belt hair versus hair match is my favorite match of the year and one of my favorite matches of all time. So I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm just surprised at how it worked out. You know, those are the 3 matches that elevated Stardom into the or into a different stratosphere in the world of professional wrestling, and especially into the Western audiences. So those 3 were on a pedestal all to their own. And you know, a lot of this year in pro wrestling, whether it was Tam or it was Shuri or it was Hangman or it was Tsukasa in Ice Ribbon or even someone like a Big E or Bianca, like this was the year of people that you liked a lot getting like their big moment in the spotlight and being elevated to a certain status that they were never there before that you always kind of wanted. So like it makes sense that, you know, these 3 were there. Like that's all part of the tapestry of what was most of the good professional wrestling in 2021.
I went red belt no time limit match as my number 1. I went with Momo and Shuri as number 2, and then I went Utami versus Shuri from June as number 3.
Okay, yeah, I went the title change red belt match. I went to Utami Shuri 2 as 2 in quotation marks. 1. I went Utami Shuri 1 as second. I put the white belt hair versus hair match at 3. Like this was just a strictly best match thing than, you know, what my opinions of them. But yeah, all 3 incredible matches.
Congratulations to Utami and Shuri picking up multiple places here.
So So here's the deal. If you're an entrepreneur, a contractor, gigster, self-employed, or a freelancer, that means you're in business for yourself, which means you can get a business bank account that pays you back 2.2% in 2022. It's called Nearside.com, and right now, it's free. I get it. Usually when banks say free, they drop the R and it's fee. Monthly fee, overdraft fee. With Nearside, there's no fees, not even a sign-up fee. I'm talking free, the kind that feels like sunshine and makes you do a happy dance, especially when your Nearside debit card pays you back the 2.2 in 2022. That's 2.2% of everything you buy for taking care of business. From a laptop or a paintbrush to work shoes and cheeseburgers, it's free money back into your business. No hidden fees, just really, truly free. Tap your phone to get started at nearside.com/free. Debit card rebate restrictions apply. Visit nearside.com for details. Nearside is not a bank. Banking services are provided by Lending Club Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Pay-per-view of the year. So this is all promotions, mixing them in. Mixing.
Stupid.
So we've got Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2, Vengeance Day from NXT, kind of like the last great takeover.
Yeah, the last one that was fully loaded from top to bottom. Yeah.
Yep. The Stardom All-Star Dream Cinderella, AEW Double or Nothing, AEW All Out, Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix, AEW Full Gear, and Stardom Dream Queendom. So, number 3, AEW Double or Nothing with 33 points. Number 2, 82 points, 27 first place, AEW Full Gear. And number 1, it's no surprise, clean sweep for AEW, 147 points, 123 first place points, AEW All Out, one of the greatest shows of all time.
I mean, to be fair, I think Full Gear is one of the greatest shows of all time too.
That is too, yes.
Yeah. Like, I don't think you need to just separate and be like, yeah, there's only one great. No, not this year, my bro. There are a few.
Add up the star rating shit. It might be Full Gear.
Had quite a few. Bell to bell especially, but All Out was pushed over the top with the arrival of Cole and Danielson. So and also the return of Punk after 7 years. Man.
Minoru Suzuki being a surprise.
That's right.
The cage match, the title match, the fucking just great shit everywhere.
That's
Miro and Eddie Kingston. Kojima was over when he came out. Like it was a great night. Full Gear, of course. Just a star system assassin of a night, top to bottom, big title change in the main event. He had crazy
Dave Meltzer stroked out on stars that night.
Dave Meltzer melted on the internet. Bro, people were fucking furious. Was
out there giving anything from a half star to 3/4 of a star more than it deserved. That man loved him this show. This man thought it was the greatest show of all time, bar none. He was wrong as fuck, but I get it. He's like, hey, 2018 Dominion, get the fuck out of here.
Tell you, King rocks.
Wrestle Kingdom 9 and 11, King rocks.
It was so funny. I love Dave.
That man was wilding out tonight.
They were on a roll, man. And then Double or Nothing was like the first show back. What I contend is the hottest crowd of the year. I was there in person. It was a phenomenal event to be at.
How hot was it after Cody cooled him down?
They came back during Brit. Like it took a little second, from the Miro and Archer to get it back a little bit. But when Brit was in that closing stretch, they was living and dying with her. Like it was, I think it'd been an ugly scene if she ain't win personally, but it came back and then they were into the 3-way and then Stadium Stampede was awesome too. So it was like, that should ruled, quite frankly. I think some of the Stardom shows were fucking phenomenal too, especially Dream Queendom and then the March show. Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 was phenomenal as well. It only ended up with 15 points. I think it finished 7th on this thing. So.
You remember how you were saying Takeover 36. The last official takeover was like the you told me that shit as a series finale of NXT.
Yeah.
Hey, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 of Wrestle Kingdom 15 might have been the series finales, my guy. Like, are we ever going to have a New Japan show that great?
I don't know, but there are people that will argue in Tetsuya Naito won. That's the season finale of New Japan right there. Shout out to Case Low. He has a great column in the 2020 year-end book that is called "The Dynasty is Dead." Like, so
when evil hits Naito with that too sweet before he hits when everything is evil, that's the actual finale.
That is
yes, that's the finale. Oh yes. So that's what New Japan Cup 2020.
20.
Yeah. So that's that should be the official time of death.
Yeah. Oh man. So congratulations to AEW. 3 shows there. Moment of the year. Just moment of the year. Got 8 moments on here. Kenta appears on AEW Dynamite, kicking open the forbidden door for the first time in AEW. Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debut in AEW. CM Punk returns at the first dance. Britt Baker wins AEW Women's World Title. Bianca Belair defeats Sasha Banks for SmackDown Women's Title. Hangman Page wins the AEW World Title. Tam Nakano wins the white belt. Shuri wins the red belt. So, in third place with 60 points, Hangman Page wins the AEW World Title. Number 2 with 75 points, Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson debut in AEW. And number 1, 135 first place points. Pretty obvious here. CM Punk returns at the first dance. Once in a lifetime kind of thing.
Yep. And he cut this great promo during his return, and he ends up finishing somehow second in first promo. But he had a moment of the year with a promo. Go figure. He was awesome. That's my number 1 vote. My other 2, my 2 and 3, are the 2 Stardom title changes. But yeah, CM Punk had to be it. And to be honest, I went for the moments that made me cry, of tears of joy. So that's what I went with as my 3. So, Hangman, I'm surprised Hangman ended up finishing behind Adam Cole and Danielson, but Danielson and that whole little angle thing they did to bring out Danielson, that was awesome. That was awesome. Yeah, that was what a show. What a show.
I went number 1 CM Punk, number 2 Cole and Danielson, and then number 3 Bianca defeating Sasha for the SmackDown Women's Title.
Yeah, I don't know what WWE have to do to get me to think of their main roster being having great moments, and I buy into them and believe them and think they're gonna last longer. Like you voted for Sasha and Bianca, right? Look what they did her.
Look what they did with it. Yeah, look what they did with it. Yeah.
Oh, you loved it? How about we shit on it?
Yep. So, creative success of the year. So, we've got 8 nominees. Darby Allin and Sting Alliance. Adam Page versus the Elite. Tommy's red belt reign. Kenny Omega is AEW World Champion. Bryan Danielson reborn in AEW. Bobby Lashley's main event push. Starlight Kid's heel turn and the labors of Jericho. So, in third place with 74 points, Kenny Omega, the AEW World Champion. 75 points, 1 point difference. Adam Page versus the Elite. Number 1 with 90 points, 42 first place points. Oh, wow. The Adam Page versus the Elite had 60 first place points, but they got only 8 and 7 on the others. So this is why they lost. But number 1, Bryan Danielson is reborn in AEW. The novel concept of letting a great wrestler wrestle.
Yeah, let him have the matches he wants.
It could only be if it was only that simple.
Yeah. like it's funny. Like we heard about how much creative freedom the top guys, the tippy top guys in WWE have, and then you see like what like real creative freedom looks like, and like gotta say, those aren't even close to the same things. Sorry. Like, I really don't think that if you unleashed Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns into the wild, they would have the matches that they're having. Not to say there's anything necessarily wrong with their matches, but I just think that, like, they'd be a lot fucking different. So, yeah, you know, I voted that third, but, you know, the Danielson was a fucking killer the last third of the year. He just really was. Like, just amazing. I voted Omega number one. Omega is world champion number one for creative success because, you know, the company grew like crazy as he was a champion. But and also like a lot of this stuff like Page versus the Elite and
tied up under him.
Yeah, it's tied to it, so it's kind of maybe that split votes. I don't know.
Yeah, I voted for Kenny as number one. Then I voted Danielson and then Page versus the Elite. Yeah, so pretty much you guys know why. So
yeah. I did Starlight Kid's heel turn as number two. Like, I thought it was incredible television, if you will, from, you know, she's in these you know, loosely factions feud. They lose Goki and Death, and they make her, Oda Side turns her into Konami's slave. They double down again, double or nothing, do it again to try to get her back. They end up losing literally the mascot of Stardom and Stars. Mayu's, you know, they're called MK Sisters or whatever else if you want to, but like that's like her daughter. She loses her daughter in a gamble to try to win back her friend, and like the whole chase of like Mayu going through that 1 versus 5 gauntlet match to get her back. She wins, and then at the end, like Starlight Kid's like, I don't want to go back, and she shoves her in the face, and like Mayu just collapses. Like it wasn't even like she went through all that wear and tear and all that battle to go get her back or to win her back legally or whatever you want to call her, like she's a slave. But like when she rejects it, like what makes her fall and collapse when she can't get back up is like Kid saying, no, I don't want to go back. And like that heartfelt moment where she's like, if you want to be a rival, fine, but like I'll always wait for you to come back to me. Like that shit was heartfelt. Like that shit was gutting. But yeah, that's why I went second with that. But yeah, everything with the Elite and Page and Kenny Omega and Danielson, like that shit was rightfully voted for. It really was.
Yeah. So tied for last was Lashley's main event push and the Labors of Jericho. I thought the Labors of Jericho was really undervalued here. Responsible for lots of crazy moments on television, like Nick Gage having a death match, Juventud Guerrera getting pulled from WCW back in there, Jericho and MJF, him and Wardlow. Like it was like it's just every week it was like, what will happen next? And it just like for the most part it was just all delivering. So
I think a lot of people are off of Jericho right now. There's a lot of stock to be bought on Jericho right now. And I think he's recognizing that's the reason why he's changed his body of late. He kind of realized like this shit will not do what he's doing right now. So he got that re-up. Apparently he got a 2-year extension. Option got picked up. Option accepted instead of declined.
Amazing how that works. I'll say this. Never, and I mean I'm gonna zoom the camera. Never write off Chris Jericho. Ever.
I had a different screen up, so I had to click over. You were just already right there in my face. Yeah. So what's next?
So up next we have the last award. The IWC Award, the biggest internet controversy. Man, we have reached the end of the line. Hope you guys have enjoyed these awards so far. This award's been around since the first year. Yeah, man. So let's get to it. 8 nominees. AEW wins the Wednesday Night War and the drama that caused. Man. NXT 2.0 and the trash that caused. The reaction to many wrestlers jumping from AEW or WWE to AEW. You would have think just like jihad was committed. It was just man. It was bad, man. Just like these people have lost their minds.
Cody jumping to WWE whenever that officially comes out, is going to be on this list next year, right?
Yeah, I maybe, yeah, maybe. Like, it's a big story.
Yeah.
AEW Rampage beats SmackDown head to head on cable. This is that night they loaded SmackDown to the gills. CM Punk beats Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks, and then Bunny.
Yep.
The Bunny beats the Tribal Chief and Brock Lesnar. So they got beat by the Bunny, and I'd never seen so much crying, and just and this was a loss WWE signed up for and chose. They didn't have to they went an extra half hour. It was just like, good God. And that whole week was just on Twitter.
In the follow up, Fast Nationals became a thing.
Yes. Number 5, budget cuts. Kind of like a spin on like what happened last year, WWE firing hundreds or dozens of wrestlers and things like that. But it's we were wondering what this budget is, quite frankly. Number 6, everything relating to black wrestlers and the black community in wrestling. Just everything from like are the Young Bucks allowed to wear sneakers, things of that nature. The lack of of black wrestlers in AEW being spotlighted at main event level. What happened to Bianca Belair at SummerSlam? Big E win the championship, and then the various trash fires across different parts of wrestling Twitter and everything, like the Bearcat Wright shit or Bearcat Lee shit. There's just like tons of things that it was exhausting after a while. The Big Swole stuff that happened with Tony Khan at the end of the year. It was just like everything was there was a lot of race, discussion going on this year, and mudslinging, using race to hide behind, and using race to do a lot of things, like to be unproductive in some cases, and in other cases
for agendas.
For agendas. And it was,
exhausting. Yes, very much exhausting.
The Young Bucks being sneakerheads. So the Young Bucks, and then that whole thing that happened with Top Dollar and everything else, and just Young Bucks apparently weren't allowed to wear Jordans, I guess. And then Pro Wrestling Tees was hacked. So I don't really got much on that. They were hacked.
They were hacked, and then they basically slow rolled it so they can keep getting holiday sales in. That's right. That was the deal on that. So
yeah, the IWC award. Let's get to it, man. So number 3 with 50 points, AEW wins the Wednesday Night War. Number 2 with 67 points, everything relating to black wrestlers and the black community in wrestling. And number 1 with 108 points, 90 first place points, budget cuts.
Okay. I had number 1 and number 2. AEW wins the Wednesday Night War. I voted for the reaction of wrestlers jumping from WWE to AEW, and to be honest, between AEW winning the Wednesday Night War and NXT 2.0 and the wrestlers going from WWE to AEW, I felt like those are all kind of related to each other. So I see why they went with AEW wins the Wednesday Night War, because boy, that. I miss NXT Black and Gold, but I'm also don't miss the people going back and forth about the show, and then I have to hear people that are AEW fans do not like the Black and Gold because most of them used to be whatever else, and then also I have to hear the main roster fans that don't like Black and Gold either. So I am glad that's over with, so they can enjoy their their show that's going to get canceled within the next year or so. So but whatever.
So yeah. I voted everything related to black wrestlers and the black wrestling community first.
Really?
Yes. I think it was the single most controversial issue online all year. Whether it's talking about, the championship scenes, the agendas, it was just, I think everything was just magnified on that. Yeah, and it was just like, it was like, it can't be like this big a deal. Like, but apparently it is. So, there's a lot of people third. A lot of people looking for pro wrestling to solve their societal ills. I don't know what to tell you on that. That's not, my views have like kind of evolved over time with this, like where, like these are, I don't know, man. I think, a lot of people playing games.
This shit's bigger. This shit's bigger than Matt Lauer, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, it's like, so it's a lot. So that was my first place vote. I voted for AW wins the Wednesday Night War. The thorough domination of AW throughout the whole thing made it kind of like, it was like, wow, they really pulled the plug on it. I couldn't believe it personally. I didn't think they would throw in the towel like that as far as like NXT.
Especially when it's like, what you mean, like from moving off of Wednesday or moving?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm more surprised that like they changed it up after they already moved and they got better ratings once they moved, and then once they switch it up, like they get worse ratings than they ever had before.
Yeah, and it's just like, the denialism was just on another level. Like people just not understanding what they were seeing, even though they were seeing it every week.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, hey, listen, man, there's one wrestling show that's going to be inside of big arenas. And this other shows that is going to be like in a full sale like space. And then once the pandemic hits, it's going to be in the PC in the LA Fitness you have in Orlando. Which show do you think is going to be better?
Yeah, and they kind of lost the plot booking wise.
Yeah. But like one looks majorly, the other one doesn't.
The over push of Cross, just destructing the brand.
The pandemic ruined them more than anything else.
Like, I think the Cross thing was death. The
pandemic.
The Keith Lee, like, unifying the belts and just giving the shits up. The hot shotting, like, really, like, did, like, the pandemic sped everything up for NXT. So, and then my third was Rampage beat SmackDown head to head on cable. You talk about denialism and, people just in disbelief, and it's like there are people that really act like we're not, like they act like 2019 has never happened, like a new company never came along, like, and then it was like a rude awakening, and it's like, why are we still doing rude awakenings like 2 years later? And then it's like, oh, this thing is really ingrained in them as far as like WWE.
It's their identity.
What they grew up with, everything that just like just seeing CM Punk be able to do it too was fucking, chef's kiss. But yeah, it was, there was a lot of controversial things on the internet in 2021, and those were our One Nation Radio awards. James, did you have anything else on the IWC award?
Nah. Just
any general reaction to the awards?
I thought it was a fun show. I thought that I felt like a lot of things, like most of the placing in this thing was pretty, kind of matched my opinion of it. But yeah, y'all gotta, y'all gotta stop hating on the Young Bucks. I don't know what got in y'all this year. That was strange this year, was what got into y'all. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Turns out I was wearing a Young Bucks shirt this whole time, and man, y'all ain't want to show these dudes no love. The greatest tag team to ever walk this planet. Y'all don't love them? Like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, like let the Usos had a year the Young Bucks did. My God, people would lose like their minds. Let FTR do this. People will lose their minds.
You want me to start, don't you?
Hey, man. Feel free to jump in.
I'm not going there with you. Like, I'll just say this. Let the Usos have a year as good as Momo and Azumi before they broke up. Let's start there first, can we? Like, start with the 20-year-old, then the 18-year-old.
Start lower, yeah.
Yes.
Their exits.
I'm sorry, 21-year-old and now 19-year-old. Sorry.
Yeah, man. I guess it's time to get to our favorite matches, I guess, right?
Yeah. So, Rich, you'll start off with your number 10.
So, number 10, I will go with Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. NXT TakeOver 36. Way to end an era, a franchise, and they did it in the UK and by themselves the previous year, and they came back this year with almost as a violent match. They did a title change, finally beat Walter. That was insane when you think about it, and then like it felt right when it happened, and it was like, yo, this is Dragunov dude's tough as fuck. Walter's like, he lost, but he's not, he doesn't look weak or anything. I don't think. It was like he went through a war, and this was just great. 5 of the easiest stars I've ever given. Yeah.
Number 10 for me, Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki from the Rampage buy-in in Miami, Florida on October 15th. Man, like, sometimes I think about the Bryanson run, and like, I feel like this might be underrated. Like, I thought this match was incredible. I thought this match could have been a 5-star match had they decided to go like 3 more minutes. But they just incredible striking. This is the match that I've always wanted Minoru Suzuki to have in front of an AEW crowd. Like, when they did the Moxley match, I thought they were going to do a part 2 of what they did in New Beginning 2020, but they didn't do that. It was a shorter match, but this was like the fully realized version of what Minoru Suzuki is for New Japan fans that have watched him, or wherever he's been in the Japanese wrestling scene. But I just thought that like those two together, they unleashed on each other, and it was just fantastic and brutal and just an ass-kicking slugfest, and I loved it.
Yeah, man. Number 9, Wonder Ring Stardom, Momo Watanabe versus Shuri in the finals of the 5-star Grand Prix. We talked about how great Shuri looked earlier that night against Takumi Iroha, and that is actually on my list as well. But the middle portion and then the match where it seems like she starts with half a gas tank and somehow like rides her car past this long stretch of land with no exits, and outlasts Momo, who was on a full tank there, and literally kicks her way into the trophy, and kicks her way back to Utami.
Yeah, that match is awesome. Like, well, like I feel like in a way, like I feel like I almost did a disservice to Shuri by not putting her for like creative success year for the year on the thing, like her nomination, like saying like her whatever, like her title chase, like it was incredible. Like that match against Utami, and then the Grand Prix, and then the final, like that shit was so good. Like, what a wrestler.
Yeah.
Number 9 for me, Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix, AEW World Title match from AEW Dynamite New Year Smash on January 6th. Man, like, you put Kenny Omega in the ring with an elite luchador and, like, look the fuck out. Like, he loves wrestling these fucking guys. Like, they're awesome. And then he gets to be, like, this, I don't say a bully, but, like, he gets to do, like, things that he just doesn't do with guys that are, like, closer to his size. And just special work. Like, for a long time, this was like my number 2. This was like the second best match I had saw of the year for a few months. And then it got topped, but just awesome. Like I want him to do it again at some stage. Like whether it's I don't know where, when, and where. Hope maybe it's in Mexico, whatever. Like, but we need more of this. We need Kenny to get healthy, and I need him to go out there and shoot Vikingo his fade.
Number 8, Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix. First real defense of Kenny Omega's title reign, taking on one of his greatest opponents. I feel comfortable saying that. This was so fast, so electric. I believe this was a 17-minute match, if I'm not mistaken. Rey Fenix, the peak of explosion. Kenny, step for step with him. This was like, I was like, yes. Like when Kenny Omega won the championship, I was like, yo, this is like let's go. Let's fucking ride. Like this is where it's at. And this was overshadowed by January 6th, of course. Yeah. That happened on that same day. But I always will remember this match as like, Kenny didn't get to go to Wrestle Kingdom. There was a pandemic, but it was like Wrestle Kingdom, and then the end of the, it was like Wrestle Kingdom was the 4th, and then the 5th, and then on the 6th, Kenny Omega and Phoenix got the answer, and they did.
Number 8 for me, Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom 15, Night 1, January 4th. They had a match at this year's Wrestle Kingdom that was better, but and I also believe that they've had G1 matches that have also been like 5 stars or of that ilk. But this was like the first realized match where they were seen somewhat on similar levels as opposed to just in a tournament. And after the heel turn from Ospreay at the end of the G1 in 2020 to get to this moment, like this is like what we've been talking about for a long time for Will Ospreay after Kenny Omega left, and he was obviously the most talented guy in that locker room. And he showed and proved to get to this point, and they executed it, and we got here, and this match was incredible. In one of these years, Ospreay is going to beat Okada in a big spot, and like say what you want to about the people that don't like him and all that kind of stuff. On that day, he won't just be the best wrestler in the world or best worker in the world. He will be a legend with a capital L. So look forward to it.
Get ready.
Look forward to it.
Number 7, Kota Ibushi versus Jay White, Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. I thought this was so dramatic of a match. I went in completely unspoiled, which helped, I would say, a lot. It went 48 minutes. I remember that. And it didn't feel too long for me. It's the longest main event ever in the Dome. It just felt like this big match where like Jay White hit Kota Ibushi with everything and he would not die. And I'll just never forget like the drama of that match. Even in a clap crowd, I could feel it.
Number 7 for me, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, September 22nd. I remember thinking, I remember like once the word came out that Danielson and CM Punk may be on the way, like this may have been the first match I thought about was Danielson versus Omega. And to see them go out there for a half-hour draw and more or less do what I thought they could do, it was awesome. Like, I'll always remember that freaking long, full, walkway V-trigger from Omega. Where he feels like he jumps, like he long jumps into this man with a knee. Just awesome.
That man jumped in Brooklyn and landed in Queens.
Yeah, it was awesome. And draw is appropriate. There's going to be another one, and it's going to be even better than this one. Because as great as this match was, there was stuff left in the tank.
Number 6, Adam Page versus Kenny Omega. All Elite Wrestling, Full Gear. This is the big title change, a big win for Hangman Page. Well, Kenny Omega made him fucking earn that shit. This shit kind of echoed Tanahashi and Omega when Kenny's dropping the title, he's going to go all out and really work his ass off. That Sunset Flip Powerbomb was really great. I love when the Young Bucks came out and kind of like, you know, paid it back kind of to Page, like, hey, man, like, it's your time to be, you know, step up, be the man, win. And, you know, that kind of gave him a little bit, a very emotional moment with all these guys and the fans. And I think Hangman, you know, beats Kenny, wins the belt. Everyone celebrates, you know, pays off the story of the promotion thus far. They silence a lot of people that thought they were headed for some Starrcade 97 type shit and weren't going to do the right finish, and all these people, these doom and gloomers that were just wishing something like that would happen instead of like knowing what the fuck was going on and actually being ahead. I thought it was a great match, totally fitting, popped a number on the buy rate, things like their second biggest show ever. And you know, great match.
Number 6 for me, the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros, AEW World Tag Team Title Cage match, AEW All Out, September 5th. I don't know at what point during the match, but I was sitting there thinking like, yo, they've somehow done it again. I don't think that this is, and you know me, you know, Rich, you've seen me plenty of times where like I see a match and I feel like in the middle I'll look at you and I'll be like, we on pace. When I say we on pace, like this shit is tracking like it's gonna be a 5-star match. And you know, there's plenty of times where I had, like, I didn't say this one out loud, but I was like, what I was saying in my mind was like done again was like they're like damn near on pace with like their match with the Golden Lovers and their match with Hangman and Omega, and ultimately didn't end as high as that, but the match didn't go as long as those matches. And it's just like so impressive to see them in a cage, have some restraint and not do anything that could have killed them in the way that like their ladder match went 2 years ago, or in 2019. But they're the two best tag teams that I've ever saw my eyes in a live setting, and like to see them together is always just a special thing. And you know, here's to more over the next coming years.
Right. Number 5, Shuri versus Takumi Iroha from the 5-Star Grand Prix. I was making short clips. I was commentating over them. I was watching these two women use their feet and kick the holy living shit out of each other in the chest, in the face, in the arm, wherever you wanted. Yeah, like it was some Tupac Shakur. How do you want it? That's how these feet was coming. Like just absolutely violent, like one of the most violent matches you ever see. And it was like they let, like, if we show like, you know, these people that are afraid to see women hit each other, like they saw this match, they would curl up in terror. And it was like, it was a 20-minute draw, just absolutely phenomenal. We'll never forget that match. Hope we get another one this year. Takumi comes in and gets her title shot because they went to a draw this year, and then Shuri can get the dub.
Yeah, sorry, JD. You have to do. You're just gonna have to deal with these Takumi Iroha classics versus the top of Stardom. I'm sorry. Yeah, number 5 for me, Tam Nakano versus Mayu Iwatani, white belt match. Stardom Osaka Dream Cinderella from October 9th. This is a match that I have been waiting for. I mean, ever since they split up at the end of 2020. These are my two favorite wrestlers in the world, and they have this special bond of friendship and unrequited love, and it turns into I don't think that I can be where I want to be without you or with you. So I'm going to walk away and to chase after what I really want now, because I know what I want, and the other person not understanding it and feeling betrayed, and they're both right and they're both wrong. But that's not as much important as like the part where after years of being, you know, the lesser, they're now equals, and they go out there, and in my opinion, it was the best selling match filled with selling all throughout the year, of just two people slugging the hell out of each other and one selling a ribs and a gut injury, the other one selling a neck injury, and them coming down to a stretch of just beating the shit out of each other inside the ring, outside the ring. Ref, get out the fucking way. We'll beat you up too if you get in our way of us trying to destroy each other. To suplexes, to raw headbutts over and over and over from your feet to, from on your knees all the way up to your feet. And just this closing stretch of the champion after years of being the number 2 or right-hand woman for Mayu, just like finally she has a shot to beat her, but the time runs out and she's just heartbroken that like she's a dreamer and she sets all these goals and she's so goal oriented, and the one thing that she sees is like the only step left for her really is to prove to Mayu that like I was always deserving of your respect and your love, and couldn't beat her. It was heartbreaking, it was gutting, it was awesome. Love that match.
Number 4, Shuri versus Utami, no time limit, red belt championship change. In a lot of ways, the red belt quest for Shuri was this thing you weren't sure was going to happen. Stardom looks like, in my opinion, is a promotion that if you're on top, if you're not Mayu Iwatani, you're younger. You know, you're in your early 20s. You're you're kind of new or whatever. Shuri came in like she's not like she's a beautiful woman that's not a traditional like beauty. Like she's not like Julia like coming in and it's like, oh, she's a fucking supermodel. Of course she's like gonna get the big push and stuff like that, but Shuri
she's not handles like a cartoon anime character. Yeah.
Right. And like she's like a heart-filled fighter. And Tommy's like this stoic kind of like just swaggy like, champion or whatever. And this year was about those two wrestlers, I think. And it was an insane chemistry, better than the first match. The actual championship change, 36 minutes. She breaks out a new finisher completely to win. After they do the 43-minute match, they do the draw, and then this. So this is like 90 minutes of wrestling. We still haven't found out who's better yet. And then at the end, she's standing with the trophy, the red belt, and she won it for her mom and all this stuff. And it's like, 5 stars easily, and match of the year. It was just great. And I think that if you liked the first match, you didn't see the second one, don't worry about it being spoiled. Just go find it. It's better. The people that watch this stuff normally know it's better.
That was a good synopsis. I'm going to have to try to come with something new. All right, number 4 for me. Walter vs. Ilya Dragunov, NXT UK title match, WWE NXT TakeOver 36, August 22nd. This is basically my slobber knocker of the year. In much of the fashion from last year when I gave it all types of love and respect. This is another version of it in front of a crowd that is absolutely eating it up. And in a crowd setting where it's harder for the strikes in the brutality to reverberate around the empty arena and off the walls. It still filled up the building, and the crowd ate it up, and it almost felt like they were in they may as well have been in the freaking the gladiatorial Coliseum. Walter, at many times throughout the years, it just felt like if he wasn't the best wrestler in the world, he was the best champion. This person that always had these matches that just felt like they just felt real. He beat the shit out of people. It just felt real. And to see Dragunov after that first match where he got destroyed all throughout and showed all that heart, like finally overcome and slaps that, hits that freaking, hidden headbutt basically. not a hidden blade, a hidden headbutt, and then he slaps on that choke and gets Walter out, and Walter like is just so it's just like he taps out immediately, like was shocking. It's an incredible match, an incredible triumph over a person that like just could not beat Walter, and like he's like Craig to finally he's Craig, the only person to finally beat Debo, and like quite honestly, like if I had been dragging off that situation, I would have been picked up that brick and used it, or that gun. If it, Walter, he went a long way with it, in the harder way, and he's a champion, and that was awesome match.
Number 3, Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson, 60-minute draw on TV. This match just happened in December, and winter is coming. This was in Texas. Bryan Danielson, I think, showed like his full range. This is the first time he was able to do like an hour-long match in a very long time. Hangman, fresh off of his defense, 7 weeks of watching Danielson just torture his friends, and comes in there. And we don't really know how it's going to go. Like it's a whole thing. It's like, man, a lot of people were pulling for Danielson here to just get the win, and a lot of people pulling for Hangman as a testament to his strength as a babyface character and the work that went into getting him to that level, to where Danielson didn't just drown him. And the match was like so good. By the end, I was rooting for Hangman to win, and this was like, I know like a lot of people talked about the commercials. Commercials actually worked for me because it kind of allowed me to, catch my breath or whatever. And it was like, it was a match that went 60 minutes, but the 60 minutes flew by. There was blood in it. It was violent. It was like, it was full of character, to say the least. Like I felt like I should have been watching that match, and that match should have been in like black and white, and it should have been, or it should have existed in another time. Like it was like a territory match that was like full of like updated wrestling, of course, but Danielson has like it was this thing that I discovered about Hangman too, where it was just like this never say die kind of feeling that he has, and it's carried him kind of through his reign. It was a great way to start off, even though it's like kind of untraditional, draw for your champion after they win their first defense. I think it worked out. I don't think, we really expected them to go to 60 minutes, and they did. And it was like, you didn't feel robbed.
Yeah. Number 3 for me, Utami Hayashishita versus Shuri Red Belt match from Stardom Tokyo Dream Cinderella from June 12th. Rich talked about this match earlier. I'll give more background. Shuri in last year's 5-star Grand Prix, which is the equivalent of Stardom's G1, in the middle of the tournament, Shuri mother passes away, and she ended up missing one show, and she had to forfeit 2 points, and then she comes back and at the day after, and she wrestles in a tournament match. We get to the final night, and she has to do double duty because she has to make up for time she missed her to deal with funeral plans for her mother or whatever, or funeral arrangements, whatever you want to call it. And she has a great match with Micah underling in her own faction, and then she wrestles Utami for the first time in a singles match. So this is the second match of the night, and she just gives it to Utami. And ultimately it goes to a 20-minute time limit draw, and Utami then has to go face Himeka, who she overcomes her. Vince McMahon, Utami faces a giant to get over before she gets the title. Utami becomes a champion, and throughout the beginning of the year, they're just in these tags together, and they're just killing each other. And I'm just growing more and more anticipation, and I'm just telling Rich, like, hey man, when they get in, like, you gotta see these. I've been telling you about these tags, but when they have this match, it's gonna be going fucking off. And Rich is seeing some of these Road to show matches, and he's into it too. And like, by the time we get to the hype for this match, we're both like, yeah man, we got the 4.5 just penciled in. This is just gonna be great. One of the best matches in Stardom. In a few years, and it's gonna be fun. And man, like, I watched that match live, and they get to the 30-minute time limit, and I just cannot believe it. Like, yo, this is a great match, but obviously the draw sucks. I want to see someone beaten clean, but Shuri asked for a restart, and Utami wants it too because they just want to settle this, and like Rossi grants it, and then the bell rings, and they run into each other, and it may as well have been like Agent Smith and Neo in the Matrix crash each other in one of them crazy CGI scenes or some Dragon Ball Z shit. And they waylay each other, and there's head drops and suplexes and hard as fuck kicks, and they keep basically trying to decide to finish by, I'm going to drop you on your head and you're not going to get up. And lo and behold, every single time the next person keeps getting up over and over and over again until finally, after 13 minutes of them basically having, after a 30-minute match, after like a 30 seconds of rest, they have a 13-minute sprint where they beat the living shit out of each other. They both collapse upon each other, and it's a double knockout. Ref calls it. They both can't continue. Shuri, after the story I just laid out to you about how she wants to win this title for her, she after what she went through in that tournament to get her shot finally, after failing the first time against Mayu later in at the end of 2020 to have another shot to dedicate this to her mother, and to fail, and the way that she just grabs into the and literally hugs and goes to a fetal position in the corner was just like, I felt for her so much at that point in time. At that point, it felt like I just have to see her with this fucking belt. She deserves it. She had, by that point in time, like, just from her wrestling, she had just became one of the best wrestlers in the world. She already was, but like, it was apparent that like this was her year to win it. And stay tuned.
Yeah, man. Number 2, Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson versus Pentagon and Ray Phoenix cage match. When we talk about, the Midnights and Rock and Rolls and, the goddamn Fantastics and, whoever the fuck else you want to pull out from, like, the 80s have great rivalries, great tag teams, Brain Busters, Hart Foundation, and, whatever. Demolition, a lot of shit like that. FTR,
another 80s ass tag team.
These, when the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks hook it up, no matter what stipulation it is, it can be a regular match, it can be a ladder match, it can now be a cage match. Legendary shit is going to happen. They're going to drop 50. They're going to push the boundaries of the sport and, like, in the most contemporary way kind of possible. Whether it's a Canadian destroyer off the ladder through a table, whether it's something as like unique as like, hey, we've been doing this gimmick with the Jordans. I'm gonna have Brandon Cutler throw us a fucking bag, and there's gonna be Travis Scott Jordans like, equipped with spikes for us to do super kicks with. Just lots of creativity. Another peak of this legendary rivalry. Like, this is like almost like some Cavs and Warriors shit. It's like there are two fucking teams that are just gonna keep coming back together. That that is just going to be a war. It's going to be all-time excellence, and it's going to be not close to anything that you can even try to compare to it. Like, I don't know who people talk about the Usos and the New Day. I love their Hell in a Cell match from 2017. This was light years ahead of that one, and it was like, you see the Young Bucks and, they get a lot of flack for their style. And then I'm always confused by it because I'm like, well, what can't they do? Like, you want them to fight hard, they can do that. You want them to be Southern style, taggers, they can do that in their sleep better than FTR. You want them to just go out there and just go fucking insane, they can do that as well. You want them to fight a young team, yeah, they can make, a young team look like they're one of the best teams in the world. The verse, and then you start talking about like Ray Phoenix and Pentagon. It's like the heart on those guys. Like, they're wearing masks, but you can fucking see through the mask, like, in their faces, like what they're feeling, like, especially like Pentagon, like Ray Phoenix. Just like he did this big dive off the cage, and it was the only real big dive of the match. But it was like, I never want to hear about no Jimmy Snuka diving off of some 8-foot cage. I never want to hear about, Mankind falling off the cage and stuff like that. Like, Ray Phoenix jumped into the Chicago sky, touched the Sears building, and then came down on there, and then they won the fucking World Tag Team titles. Like, as they just, took the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers rivalry to the fucking pantheon. Like, you name a tag team rivalry that's fucking with this one, you can't. I promise you. Like, unless it's like Holy Demon Army, Masawa, and Kabashi. Like we're talking about tag teams. This is it. This is class. This is the premier level. Like, I ain't wearing no Young Buck shirt for no reason. Respect the fucking Bucks and the Lucha Bros.
Yeah. Number 2 for me, Utama Hayashishita versus Shuri, red belt in SWA belt, no time limit match, Stardom Dream Queendom, December 29th. Picking off where I left off, Shuri, she goes through that Grand Prix and she just murders everyone. Just murders everyone she can to get to this moment again. To fulfill the promise to her mother, and they have this match, and it's basically the same exact match. Like, you can almost go like time cues, like at the 5-minute mark of the first match just happens, at the 10-minute mark of similar things happen, 15, 20, whatever else. It's not exactly the same, but like they're definitely like paying homage to their first match. They got so much praise, except this match is having a winner. And I think the deciding factor between this match and the last one was the first match had a 30-minute time limit. These are two of the best conditioned wrestlers in the world, and they were able to need all Utami needed was 30 seconds to be able to keep herself to where she wouldn't lose her title. But once she gets to a time when there's no time, there's no breaks, there's no place to hide, it's over. And there were great moments of dramatics in the last 5 minutes of the match after they get past the last 6 minutes of the match. Once they get past the 30-minute mark, they both have each other in submissions. Shuri gets that stretch muffler, and Utami screaming. She's screaming, just hopeless, like she's not getting Rhodes, but she eventually does. And Utami, who's been putting people away and won the red belt with a Black Tiger Bomb, hits Shuri with one, and Shuri kicks. I think she's the first person to ever kick out of it, and Shuri ends up hitting her Emerald Flosion, doesn't get her down. Utami fights back. Shuri snuffs out the last of it. Shuri gets her up on her shoulders in electric chair position, and like she ends up dropping her with a one-wing Emerald Flosion, and I was just like, that's it. I jumped out my seat, I put my hands in the air, and I'm like, that's it. I'm literally counting 1, 2, 3 with the ref, and Shuri fulfills a promise to her mother after, a 18-month story, basically, of wanting to do this, and, like, it is, you're filled with all this joy. Like her protege that she helped through the business, Konami's on commentary. She's taken a step away from Stardom in pro wrestling for now with her health concerns. She's on Japanese commentary. Everybody from her faction is around ringside, and she's celebrating. She has the belt. She takes this picture that's now up on in her history section of the site, and she just looks regal. It looks like that belt was always an extension of her, and that's her first time ever touching it. And she walks out and she hugs everybody in her faction, and then she doubles back and she hugs Konami and walks off into the sunset, and it was just a great moment. Just like, it was real sports. And in this fake fighting, that was real sports. This happens to everyone in life, and lose people, and you go through life and all that kind of stuff, and she encapsulated all that over 18 months. It was just incredible.
Yeah, man. Number 1, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega, Arthur Ashe Stadium. My two favorite wrestlers of all time meeting each other for the first time on a major stage, 22,000 in the building. New, unique setting for wrestling. AW as a promotion, first real step in New York, like kicking over the buildings, literally, like Snoop Dogg and the Dog Pound, how they was kicking over the buildings and saying New York belong to us now. That's what this was, and it was a legendary match. I know James said he would never forget the V trigger that happened with Kenny running down the ramp like the Great Muta. I will never forget him doing the goddamn V trigger. No, not the V trigger, the damn Snapdragon, and then damn Bryan Danielson sliding down the damn ramp. It was excellent. Kenny's heat segments were incredible. The opening of the match, as I mentioned, like the Rock the Rock Hogan of this time, like as far as like just seeing these guys talking shit to each other, like, hey man, nowhere to run now, like you in here with me, and they were both saying it to each other. It was like Kenny dropped he dropped before the match. Danielson said, I don't want the goof, I want the real guy that I know is inside you, and then the real guy fucking showed up, and Kenny debuted New Gear that night, that blue joint. It was just a masterpiece and a match of equals, a draw that they were fighting at the end. Like there was no one that had the advantage. It wasn't about even the title. It was about who's better. And James just talked about real sports. There's nothing more sports than who's the better man. And a title didn't even need to be on the line. Like this is like a great regular season game that breaks out, that just goes to several overtimes. But imagine they just ended it, and instead of letting them keep going. But this was a match we all wanted. As soon as Danielson came in, there's one guy. When people come in, you got to fight Kenny. Like they didn't come for Cody. They didn't come for Mox. They didn't come for whoever. Like they're coming for Kenny. Like that's who these people showing up for. And they're coming. And Danielson came in, and you see where they put him. And it was like it did an incredible business. It went on first, but it was the real main event. Come on, we know what this is. And Arthur Ashe was like low key, like one of the biggest shows of the year. Like it was. He started talking about attendance and the importance of the stage. It was my favorite match of the year. I can't wait till they run it again, and I think that it's going I don't think people are going to forget this one, because you never forget the first one, and maybe the alignments are changed next time. Maybe Kenny's the face next time, and Danielson's like the heel, and that would be an interesting twist on it, and I would think that would be great as well, but just love this match a whole lot. Nothing felt bigger this year than Danielson and Omega.
Number one for me, Julia versus Tam Nakano, white belt in hair versus hair match, Stardom All-Star Dream Cinderella, March 3rd in Budokan Hall. Oh man. This match is the culmination of a lot of things. It's a combination of Tam Nakano's character arc from comedy geek to the top of the world. It is her culmination of showing the arc of being being a brat and selfish into being a person that's dedicated to a goal, into then becoming a leader of women in her own right. And it is a culmination of something that's very, very relatable, which is people have dreams and goals, and what are you willing to do to change and sacrifice to reach them? All of that came into place in this one match, versus a woman that from the second she came to promotion, was given everything, and rightfully so, because she's a megastar. And this is her one time to lose for now. But this is the match to show you that everything that they gave her from the day she steps in the building, she was worth all that and then some. So shut the fuck up, buckle up, and enjoy the ride. These two spent the summer into the fall being the living shit each other everywhere up and down. And at the end of it, it was Julia with the top faction that she's at the face of, Julia with the championship, and Julia with the 2-1 advantage in the series, in singles. In order for Tam to catch up, she has to give up the person she loves the most, the person that saved her early in her career when she was basically exiled into nothingness, or looking that way. The person that gave her opportunity to get better and become from a terrible wrestler to one of the best wrestlers in the world from her guidance, had to step away from that mentorship to then lead her own faction and teach people the way that she was taught from the person that she left to reach to this moment. And to be able to get that title, to prove that, like, leaving Mayu was worth it. And in this match, her and Julia both dropped 50 in 19 minutes. It was awesome. There is a spot with there is a power driver through the table. There's a spot where in 2021, the best Destino in a match all year long, where Tam turns Julia's Glorious Driver into a makeshift Destino. There's an incredible slap battle that would just, like Rich said earlier, like the people that are safe police when it comes to the women in American wrestling, they would go into a fetal position watching this. There is the unleashing of the Steiner screwdriver from Tam, and then there is the super finish that she has been saving in her back pocket for a year or 15 months since she first debuted it. This is an incredible piece of rivalry storytelling, an incredible piece of singles match on its own, Lucy storytelling, if you will, in like an incredible piece of arc and development in triumph. This woman went from comedy geek manager to the top of the hottest wrestling promotion in the world, or the hottest, or the one that's getting the hottest. And this match set the foundation for what Stardom's year was and what it will be going forward. Like the Shuri and Utami matches took another standard, but like this was step one of that, and we're going to see what the Observer Awards look like tomorrow. And I gotta say, like, you're going to see a lot of top 10 places for a lot of Stardom wrestlers. And this was the start of it, for a lot of eyes to get in on it.
Yeah. So those are our 10 favorite matches. Another year of doing the award show for One Nation Radio. Always one of my favorite shows of the year to do. It is, this is the 10th year of One Nation Radio. At the end of the year. We should probably come up with some type of like all decade team or all decade type stuff next year or something. I don't know. But yeah, man, it's a pleasure doing the show as always. And glad that everybody's listening to this thing. It only feels like it's getting hotter every year. So, we actually had a lot of people show love on the donations this year. Shout out to my man Frankie Leone for sure. Shout out to everybody that was checking out the FOA's draft and some of the stuff like that, the merch, and bringing signs to the shows. Like that shit was crazy. Oh yeah, appreciate you guys listening to One Nation Radio. Yeah,
in the show, stay tuned for the top 10s from JD from Red Leaf Retrocast, and also Jeremy and Josh from Keeping It Strong Style. We had them email us stuff, so don't fear not. Like, don't think that because we didn't do an AEW year review that we did not do top 10s for other people. So make sure to check those out. And you know, if there's something you missed out, check them out and check out those matches.
This award show was like the AEW review.
kind of, sort of. Except we would have gave the Young Bucks way more respect. Way more respect.
Oh yes,
yes.
And I would have banged Cody even harder. Pause.
Well, thanks for listening, y'all. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. Go to Red Circle and drop us off with a donation, and listen to other shows on the network. Besides One Nation Radio, you have Keeping It Strong Style, the Ricky and Clyde Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, and AW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
All right, JD Red Leaf Retrocast going to break down his top 10 matches of the year. At least it is this week. So I have 3 factors I like judging my matches of the year by, and that's story build, investment hype, in-ring deliverance. So obviously emotion plays a lot of factors in wrestling in particular. And when it comes to the promotions I watch, the people I get invested into, that's really where my frame of mind is, more than just in-ring. Anybody could put together, I think, a match of the year list where it's just, I think these are the top in-ring matches of the year. I think for a lot of fans that the emotion takes that. That's what separates the in-ring match from the great match. Great matches that you remember for years to come. That's why there's always this like annual argument over why Hogan Rock is rated like 3 stars by Meltzer, but everyone thinks it's one of the greatest matches of all time. Hogan Warrior is kind of up there. You get the idea of what I'm going with. So I like kind of, why can't we have both? That's my thinking. And this week I was feeling number 10, Maki Ito Mizuki in Tokyo Joshi Pro. There's my token TJPW match of the year, it seems. Everyone was invested with Maki Ito this year. She made vast improvements in ring. She has the character work that you can get behind emotionally. The hype going into the Princess Cup this year, it really felt like Maki Ito's year. And she has this history with Mizuki. Mizuki has come out of beating Miyu Yamashita to take her out of the Princess Cup. And when they met in the semifinals, it really kind of all culminated in this, she can have happy endings too. And it was, in my opinion, the best TJPW match this year, which makes Mizuki a 2-time winner 2 years in a row for this award. It is the match I recommend probably the most out of TJPW this year. So I like using the 10 spot for a fun match. Number 9, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, AEW title Full Gear. Culmination of your big 2+ year long story. Omega Page really put it together in the ring. I think it kind of goes without saying at this point. No reason to really go into a lot of depth on why. I'm sure a lot of people have this match on their match of the year list. And this is where I get a little weird with, because I watch a lot of women's wrestling, a lot of Joshi. You will definitely hear some kind of outliers on mine, maybe a little bit more bias, but hey, when you like what you like, that's what I call bias. And I really liked Suzu Suzuki versus Tsukasa Fujimoto coming in at number 8 for the Infinity title back in January at Winter Story. It's essentially student versus teacher here. That's a tried and true classic story in wrestling. And Suzu, a teenager running with this title, and she comes across a big boss of the promotion. And at the time, it felt like even the right business move of the promotion. We'll keep that conversation for another podcast, another time. But I thought this match delivered on in-ring. It delivered on a different set of story that you're probably used to, whether it was Suzu trying to get out of various moves that Tsukasa Fujimoto has put her over in the past. It kind of played off the last year's match where Suzu beat her, which led to her eventual title win. And so there was a lot riding on this match in the history and playing into what I hoped was going to be many future matches to come. Turns out 2021 had different plans for Suzu Suzuki. There's a mouthful. And if you've already listened to the Stardom year-end review from One Nation Radio, I was on there. So I would expect, of course, if you're listening to this one, you have listened to that. If not, go for it. We do go through a lot of Stardom matches, a lot of detail. So when I talk about these Stardom matches, I'll just give you the match. You can go listen to that podcast. There you go. Guys, Rich and James, I'm plugging your own podcast for you. But Shuri Momo Watanabe 5-star finals is my number 7. Number 6, Utami Shuri world title. Tokyo Dream Cinderella June 12th. And number 5, we're getting a little different. We're getting out of the Joshi. We're going Young Bucks Lucha Bros cage match at All Out. This was my favorite and top AEW match of the year. There aren't many matches that get you fully invested in the heels and you just want to see them get beat. Everyone loves the Lucha Bros. These guys deliver on a number of different levels between the story heading into the match where the Young Bucks were big fat cheaters, dirty heels with the constant interference, led to a cage match. What a concept. Keep the interference out. And the Lucha Bros did wacky shit. Young Bucks did wacky shit, as we all like. And it's not very often that when a match is over, you just go 5 stars. What are we even arguing about? I'm not going to be a coward. And that kind of gives you a hint of how I feel about every match from this point forward. Number 4, my sole Dragon Gate match of the year into a top 10 in totality. It's Shun Skywalker versus KZ. I battled between Skywalker and KZ and then Skywalker Yamato as my Dragon Gate match of the year. And it came down to my emotional investment in a wrestler. And that would be KZ. I have believed in this guy like Junko Kiona. One day, they're going to win the title. One day, they will get the job done. KZ won King of Gate. That was his big win. So here we come, Kobe World, Dragon Gate's biggest show of the year. They did a double shot, much like Wrestle Kingdom. But this time, we were into it. The winner would go on to face Yamato on night 2. Skywalker, great run, great in-ring run of the year. The problem is, Dragon Gate, throughout the end of what feels like the last 2 years, are cursed with main events. But on Kobe World this weekend, they delivered back-to-back, just amazing main events. Go out of your way to watch these. KZ was one of my boys. It's KZ time. Incorrect. He loses the match. He lost, making you feel despair all night and day long for years to come. It was Skywalker's day, Skywalker's story to tell as he went into battle Yamato for night 2. And boy, did we have conversations over, is this KZ's level? Is this the right move? Hey, some guys aren't meant to win the world title. Some guys aren't meant to be the guy that's going to carry the company at the very top, but that doesn't mean that they are failures. I've loved KZ. This is a guy that was a comedy opener act. And if this is the culmination of his run to be at the top and going for it, what a way to go out. What a way to cap off a successful main event and being one of the best Dragon Gate matches of the year. Number 3, Julia Tam Nakano, hair versus hair. This match will go down in history. I think it already has. We'll be looking at this match for years to come with great historical context. It has all your emotion that you want to go with a Tam Nakano run to essentially overtake a big bully, and that was the Gulia. Number 2, Tsukasa Fujimoto's on here again. I'm a big Ice Ribbon fan. I love their main event style. And boy, I wish this match drew money because then it might have been number 1. Tsukasa Fujimoto loses to Tsukushi Haruka on her way of redemption. This is just the depth of the story, whether it's shoot or not. But Tsukushi was primed to be the next ace of the promotion. We all thought it was Suzu in being the prodigy, but the real story was about Tsukushi. She runs the dojo. She's been there since she's a small teenager, and after her own personal demons got in the way of her, she was on a redemption run back. Whether Ice Ribbon themselves took too long to tell this story, it kind of needed to be told in either 2020 or 2021. They culminated at Ota Ward show on November 13th for this title. They're both students of Manami Toyota. She's been there right there along their journey. It all came to Tsukushi hitting for the first time the Japanese suplex versus kicking out of Tsukasa Fujimoto's Ocean Suplex, the JOC. But hey, whenever I thought an Ice Ribbon match was going to be my match of the year, Hatman told me to hold the beer because Utami Hayashishita versus Shuri came through with the sequel, world title, Dream Queendom, December 29th. Absolutely loved it. We went into a lot of detail over One Nation Radio covering Stardom. I'm not going to repeat myself here. It's my match of the year. It had everything to me in ring the first match had. And this just had the benefit of being the sequel, had the build, had the anticipation, had the hype. That's why it's my match of the year. I hope you guys enjoyed my top 10 matches of the year at this point in time for 2021. Who knows what I might feel tomorrow, but on this day, those were my 10. This is JD, Red Leaf Retrocast. Hope you enjoyed.
Hey guys, this is Joshua from Keeping It Strong Style, and this is my list of the top 10 matches of the year for 2021. And I got to tell you, it was a very, very difficult thing to boil down the year to just 10 matches. And full disclosure and disclaimer, there were definitely some blind spots for me. You know, Lucha was completely out. My Noah and most Puro viewing, aside from New Japan, was pretty minuscule. That also includes Joshi, so like the heralded Shuri and Utami matches didn't make the cut for me because I didn't see them. But this is my unadulterated list of top 10. You're hearing it here exclusively for Rich and James, One Nation Radio, the only, place that's going to have my top 10 list. I didn't send one into Grapple. I didn't do ratings for Cage Match. I didn't send anything to Joe and Rich over Voices of Wrestling. I saved the best for One Nation Radio. So without further ado, let's get into it. Top 10. We're going to start off with Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, the Lights Out match from AEW Dynamite St. Patrick's Day Slam. Contrary to popular belief, I do watch women's wrestling and do enjoy it quite a bit when it's good, and this one was awesome. Two ladies that went out there and wanted to show the world what they were made of, headlining and main eventing the first, for the first time with two women in an AEW show, and they more than delivered. This thing was a bloodbath, super physical. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. And I think this is something that we're going to see play out again in the future when these two girls lock it up again. Number 9, we've got Jeff Cobb versus Shingo Takagi for the Never Openweight title. New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom Night 2. This was the Strong Style Fight of the Year for the Keeping a Strong Style Awards this year, and with all just due cause, because this match fucking ruled. A lot of people were rating it close to 5 stars at the time. I wasn't sure I was that high in it, but upon further review, I don't see why not. This match more than delivered. These guys went out there, put their bodies on the line. Huge, big physical spots, very, very violent, very tight, compact, an economy of moves within a 15-minute time limit. And these guys just fucking delivered. So if you haven't seen that one, again, recommended. 8th match, we're going to go with Shingo Takagi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Never Openweight title from New Japan Pro Wrestling, The New Beginning in Nagoya. And this was a match where I might not be as high in it as many other people are, but it still squeaked into my top 10 and really kind of showcased what Shingo was able to do at the top end of New Japan Pro Wrestling's main event scene, wrestling the house style. And who better for him to do it with than the Ace? And they went out there and tore the house down, really set the tone for the year that Shingo would have, and also the year that Tanahashi would have, which is crazy in 2021. But yeah, definitely recommended. The 7th match, we have Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. from the New Japan Cup 2nd round match. This was New Japan Cup Night 8, and man, really beautiful told story. Two of Brit Rez's pioneering, revolutionaries when the whole Brit Rez scene kind of exploded, and they've had many, many classic encounters, and this might just be the best of them. And Will and Zach just went out there and, put on a clinic really, of different various styles, and kind of showcased what Will's able to do, not just from the high flying aspects, but also the technical aspects as well. And, you know, a little bit of blood never hurt anybody, adds to the drama here. Will's face just explodes at a certain point in this match. So this one kind of doesn't get the recognition it deserves, but I really enjoyed it. Sixth match, we're going to go with Jay White versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP Double Gold titles. This was the main event of New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom 15 Night 2, and just another epic between these two guys. Sometimes they go out there and they don't deliver, and other times they go out there and put on a match of the year candidate. This was the latter, and you know, for a little while there, I thought this was going to be the match of the year. That's how good it was, and it just shows how much of a awesome pairing Jay White and Kota Ibushi are when they're paired together. And they went out there, they made magic once again. Getting into the nitty gritty here, top 5, Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega from AEW Dynamite, the Grand Slam. This was a dream match. It delivered on every single level. All the expectations were, you know, completely met. These guys went out there for 30 minutes and told an incredible story. I know they've got another, you know, even better match in them down the road. Two of the best ever to do it. And, you know, what a stage and what an atmosphere for them to go out there and do that. Very meaningful match for me, for personal reasons. And I'm, you know, I love this match. Fourth match of the year, we've got Walter versus Ilya Dragunov. This was a rematch of what I believe was my match of the year the prior year. But this was for the NXT UK title from NXT TakeOver 36. Walter and Ilya, they went out there and they just built upon the foundation that they'd laid the year prior with their slobber knocker. Probably the most physical and violent match of the year. And that's really saying something. So yeah, definitely check this one out. Third match of the year, Bryan Danielson versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World title from Dynamite Winter is Coming. And this was probably one of the greatest throwback, you know, NWA World title style defense type matches that you could see in modern times, you know, mixing in the indie and the, you know, the All Japan hard hitting Puro stylistic, you know, type of match, but mixing it with a 60-minute NWA world title draw. And these guys went out there, they bled, they told an incredible story, they built off of the limb work and the injuries, and yeah, and then they went out there and they did it again, you know, here in 2022. So this match, I know a lot of people prefer the Omega and Danielson match. I think this match was even better than that one, so that's why it gets the nod here for me. Number 2, the runner-up, Shingo Takagi versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP World Heavyweight title from Dontaku Night 2. And, man, these guys have gone out. They've had matches of the year, caliber matches in the past, as well as winners in the past. And seems like every time they lock it up, they put in, they just have a classic. I believe the best pairing in all of wrestling today is Shingo Takagi and Will Ospreay. I don't think anybody really outdoes them when it comes to singles matches. This one definitely was, you know, one of the best matches in New Japan in quite some time. And, you know, this was our match of the year for Keeping It Strong Styles Awards. And I wouldn't be surprised if it won that award in many publications. For sure, the best wrestling match on, you know, in Asia this year for that entire region, and also for New Japan. So this one more than over-delivered. I mean, I feel like because New Japan had a down year, less people saw it. So if you didn't see it, and you're looking at the other matches that I've ranked below it, that would tell you how highly I hold this matchup in esteem and in regard. So you need to see this one. It's required viewing, and it's a classic. And then without further ado, the match of the year, my number 1 pick, the match I believe most people will be picking, that's the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks in a steel cage match for the AEW World Tag Team titles from All Out. And I got to tell you, steel cage match is my favorite match of the year, or is my favorite match stipulation, I should say. And you would think that that would mean that these guys have a leg up, but actually it means they had a harder, barrier of entry for me to even like the match because of how many cage matches I've seen and how many I hold in high regard. It's like an almost impossible, barrier for them to kind of cross. And these guys did it. They went out there and had maybe arguably the greatest cage match of all time, which is crazy considering, that many people considered a cage being a stipulation that would limit their ability to go out there and tell a classic story. And quite the contrary, showed how amazing these four men were at working, the story that they told, the physicality that they, were able to put on display, that they had probably the best tag match of the year without even having tags involved, without having, many of the tropes that they usually would, depend on. And this was very different from the ladder matches that they've had. So, anybody that's seen it knows exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen it, you need to see this one. In my opinion, the best match of the year, an all-time classic. And that's going to do it. So thank you guys for listening. And I'll kick it back to Rich and James or whoever's following me for, more match of the year goodness.
Hey everybody, Jeremy Donovan here from Keeping a Strong Style to give my top 10 matches from 2021. So I'll start from 10 and work my way down to number 1. So number 10 for me, I have Ricky Knight Jr. versus Will Ospreay from September 19th, 2021. Rev Pro, high stakes, just incredible matchup here. Just one of many for Will Ospreay. First time seeing Ricky Knight Jr. in action. Guy is great. Great match, great story for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship. Number 9, Will Ospreay versus Zack Sabre Jr. from March 14th, 2021, New Japan Cup. And once again, another incredible Ospreay match. Ospreay and Sabre always have incredible matches with each other, and this New Japan Cup match was no different. Number 8, I have Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay from January 4th, 2021 from Wrestle Kingdom. Starting to see a theme here of all these Ospreay matches. But just a foundational match here in the rivalry between Ospreay and Okada and his quest to beat Okada in the Dome. Couldn't get the job done on this night, but we're seeing that rivalry continue to play out, and one day Ospreay will beat Okada in the Dome. Number 7, I have Gunther versus Ilja Dragunov from August 22nd, 21, TakeOver 36. The rematch from the 2020 Empty Arena match. This match, once again, like that match, was absolutely incredible. Super hard hitting. Easily the best WWE match of the year. Number 6, I have Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega from September 22nd, AEW Grand Slam. Two of my favorite wrestlers of all time clashing in on a big stage for, actually it was a non-title match, but still a big matchup for AEW, big matchup for Bryan. And man, this match was just incredible. Going to the time limit draw, leaving this match in their back pocket to do again, once again, probably on pay-per-view. But absolutely love this matchup. Then after that, coming at number 5, I have Kazuchika Okada versus Shingo Takagi from June 7th, 2021, Dominion. This is the match where it was for the vacant IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Ospreay got hurt, had to drop the belt. He was set to defend against Okada. So Shingo, being the last guy that challenged for the belt, stepped in. And I know I'm kind of on an island here, but I love the Shingo Okada matches, and I love this match, and just the excitement of Shingo winning the title put this match over the top for me. It's one of those matches going in thinking, man, there's no way Shingo's going to beat Okada, especially because Shingo had already beaten him earlier in the year in the New Japan Cup. But Shingo pulled a huge upset, last of the Dragon, and Shingo became the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, and that led him to just a great rest of the year. Coming in number 4, I have Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson from December 15th, 2021. Winter is coming. Hangman just having a incredible series of title matches since winning the title. So this would be the first Bryan match, his first defense, and just once again, absolutely incredible. Bryan Danielson, just a master of having these long, epic matchups with people. And I think Hangman Page, he wasn't being carried here. He left up his end of the match as well. And just a great outing here for both guys. And incredible, once again, another TV match from AEW that's on the list here. It's an incredible matchup. Number 3, this match I love so much. Shingo Takagi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. January 30th, 2021, New Beginning in Nagoya. This is for the Never Openweight Championship. The Ace challenging for the Never title. And man, this was your classic Never style match mixed with the classic New Japan main event style. Super hard hitting, great story, psychology, everything you want in a big New Japan matchup. In that it was almost like it's a battle of two styles here. You had the fast-paced, hard-hitting Dragon Gate style from Shingo versus the more classical catch-as-catch-can, methodical, strong style in the Carl Gotch sense, New Japan style from Tanahashi. And both these guys just blended so well together. Absolutely incredible matchup. Tanahashi capturing the Never title for the first time. Great matchup. Then number 2, I have Will Ospreay versus Shingo Takagi from May 4th, 2021 from Wrestling Dontaku. Again, another chapter in the Ospreay-Shingo rivalry. This was for the World Heavyweight title. Ospreay had just beaten Shingo in the New Japan Cup, but Shingo wanted another crack, especially now that Ospreay had just defeated Ibushi to become the world champion. So this was better than the New Japan Cup match and right up there with their 2019 Best of the Super Junior matchup. And these guys just have incredible chemistry. These guys should literally, and people talk about fight forever. These guys need to fight forever. They never fail to have a great matchup here. And Ospreay got the win here on this night on this incredible matchup. Then my number 1 match of the year for 2021 is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers from September 5th, 2021, All Out. And this is easily the best cage match I've seen in my entire life. You talk about just from the entrances and the Lucha Bros getting the live entrance and their gear and just how big of a rivalry this has become over the last few years, and just the incredible spots they did, the big Phoenix dive off the top and bringing back the tacks in the shoes that the Bucks brought back, and just so many incredible spots and moments. And this is what you want in a blood feud and a big payoff cage match, and it was absolutely excellent. Well, that is my top 10 matches of 2021.
Winter can wreak havoc on your skin. Hey, it's Kayla, and it's not just the weather, but as a new mom, I've seen my skin change in ways that I'm not too happy about. But that's where the Skin Center has you covered. Their most popular treatment is Botox because they're the best at it. They've been ranked a top 10 provider in the nation by Allergan Aesthetics, the makers of Botox. And their best facial is what I got. It's the HydraFacial. It exfoliates, extracts, and hydrates all at once. So save your skin from these winter blues and DM at the Skin Center MD on Instagram and mention code Kayla to get $100 off your first Botox or filler treatment or any skincare package.
At Kroger, we believe fresh means holding our produce to a higher standard. That's why we do up to a 27-point inspection on our produce. Like for citrus, we check for things like scarring and sunburn. Yep, oranges can sunburn, and we'll make sure you never see it. In fact, we only allow the best oranges, lemons, and grapefruits to reach our shelves. Because when it comes to fresh for everyone, we believe the juice is worth the squeeze. Kroger, fresh for everyone.